Maybe they blast you out there, but Patrick and Default clean up that fight here. Question is, yes, they bring back Sapphic as well. So now they're going to be back into it. They're going to have to get all the resources, get back to full strength, and fight out a retail row. And Tayson, Reason, and Vino, they're getting bullied. Flecken kind of pushes them down a bit. It looks like they're trying to value positioning at this moment, satisfied with that Storm Surge fight that they had there with Fasroki's trio. But it's still, man, I really think they got to trust in their box fighting, get in there. I understand they're going for position, they'll early rotate, but you got to catch up here with some elims.
Many teams are just kind of employing these tactics, though. They're baiting teams like Tayson, Vino, Reason into doing what you're saying, right? Going for those fights. Third party, roll straight through. If they fought Flecken right there, 4ZR would have been literally there in 5 seconds to clean up after that fight, right? So they have to be very careful. It is their strength. You're right. But they have
Mariachi, man, and storming right into this Russian.
not separating their position, though, from everyone else. Everyone is kind of tied towards this left side near caddy corner. They have a crescent moon of trios just waiting for the sun to rise, going towards the next portion of the zone. Look at Agram not being aggressive, not even looking for shots. How uncharacteristic is that? Sean VP, the one being bullied and not surviving the clutch. Things are changing now towards these back half of games. Amplify 80 and Matt, so they're activated.
Oh,
they
man.
moved with, Andy before, and both teams survived. This time, one did not. So people are definitely employing different strategies to get out of these mid-game positions. At the same time, everyone's kind of just stuck side by side.
Very stuck here because of these kind of positions that everyone's kind of jockeying for on these mountaintops, and the zone is pushing off where Matzo is. And look at this, everybody's on the left side. Again, there's something about the left, but everyone's got to pick up their left foot and slide to the right for this moment here. Squeeze and 4ZR and Alex, who have been wounded throughout the entire time. You got some sand under their toes, and once you go to the beach and you don't take a shower, you got sand in all these weird crevices. And as Squeeze and 4ZR, they're going to be irritated as they're making their way through here. But hey, they got a really strong position, but I'm just concerned the resources have been dipped into, the heals have been dipped into, and now as Squeeze has been double dipped and eliminated, 4ZR and Alex have to roll as a duo.
This is so tricky, especially with this zone. We're going to Shipwreck Cove. I mean, I haven't seen a zone like this since last season's game number 1. It gets crazy. Anything can happen. And these guys have to move free on an entire mountain. Is there a person to snipe there? Yes. Endless doesn't even see his speed. He's not even considering it. He's going for revenge on the Eliminator. He's moving out in the open. Everyone's spaced up side by side, skiing down this mountain. This is crazy. Finally catches up to 4ZR. How is that possible?
Man, it is that extreme sports lifestyle. You're going to the beach and you're surfing, and now you're back up to the mountaintops and you're skiing and snowboarding, and sometimes that little snowball, it kind of careens down into avalanche. 4 HP does get elimination there. He's gonna have to hold on. 4ZR and Andalix, a very historic duo here, is still on their feet in the snow. Zone 5 is gonna be revealed, Shai.
Okay, and it is going to be an avalanche that's going to come through. All these trios have to move off from one side of the mountain. It might be like an anti-gravity avalanche to go all the way to the other side of the mountain.
They can't do this.
And then that's a rise again, the trickiest zone in Fortnite's history. I feel like this is going to be crazy for people to move across.
All it takes is a couple of beams and Alex is gone. Queasy is still in this fight, gets an elimination on the Red Rush, but we're watching right here. This is one of the most decorated EU teams in the region. This French trio who made the French shift. They changed it up. They were able to qualify with new teammates, newly formed. And look at this. In about a minute, we will see if they were able to survive. As you mentioned, one of the most dangerous, treacherous rotations we may ever see. Here we go.
I saw Safik just make a very sneaky push from the bottom. They're electing to go to the base of the mountain. And Alex, though, he's moving all the way up on the top right of your screen. 4 HP, can't make a single mistake. Half pad up in the air. 3 AR shots will take him out, but no one's looking. Everyone has to be focusing on this position. It's such a tricky zone. Finally, some pressure comes in, but they stabilize. Meanwhile, down towards the dirt, Exterior's might be red rushed. They don't want to take to the skies. They got their own plans to stay ahead and alive.
But what is such a risky position to be down there? Look at that, even Bootback is way down there. Bootback is beyond the dirt. He's 6 feet under. He may find himself and dig himself into the lobby at that point. Falconly and ZQ Kazakh, oh my goodness, what happened? An earthquake happens. It brings down everything, and it was an edit down chop. Kazakh survives, though. He survives the natural disaster that just unfolded there, and Queasy may have been the culprit of that edit down chop.
Oh my god, I've never seen Kazakhs panic that hard.
Dude, I panicked.
Down, but walls and floors everywhere. We're panicking too. They're back up the height though. That cost them a lot. Kazakhs,
it did.
171 mats now, and it's only wood.
Oh my goodness. It's coming down to it. This is one of those chaotic in games that we always love to see and love to cast, but no one loves to play because it's going to get messy. Here we are. Deceptos Loki's commit there on the low ground, but not really. They're heading down now. Hey, Tayson, Vino, and Reason. They're in the mid ground. Punch-ups right there on their door. And let's save it. Save it is alive here. Save is going to try to find his way back to glory. And meanwhile, our defending FNCS champions are second from height.
Everyone on every single layer has to be very careful. We're going back up, straight over the mountain, across flat land, but the zone could pull back at any moment. You have to be very careful with how many materials you use, which pads you're putting down, what your whole game plan is, and while you're trying to concentrate, anyone can break into your box, cause a lot of pressure, chaos in your mind. You might not think, you waste even a second, you might slip, fall off of this crazy zone and mountain, straight down to your demise. There's a big shot from Save. It cannot keep it contained. Right there, a second of distraction, invasion in the box. He's gone, he's out.
And what I noticed in day one is Jerky, Queasy, and Trulix, if they cleaned up a couple of things, they would be able to hold on to height. They had height multiple times here on the first moving zones, but then they lost it to these corporates right here. But it's not going to happen here because Aqua is in shambles, and now he's going to do all that he can to get those placement points.
Yeah, even the high ground warlords are suffering with this zone. Aqua as a solo trying to make things happen. Missed shot on the walk-up, but he got a big finish on the splash. 100 damage, 33 on the elo cracks. He's still getting points, even if he's not working height or in the circle. The zone is still so far away. Bullied, held back in boxes. He gets in. He's living. He's alive.
Aqua with the two-piece right here. The GOAT is still alive on his feet, still rocking it now. He's on a layer. He almost caught another body, but he just whiffs the shot. He's here to fight and out of build and out of this match.
Reason, though, he's fighting with Taste and takes out Safik as they're moving on to their mid-ground layer. Below is just a mess. Tripper and the last one left, he gets taken out. He's gone, and now Exterios and Mappy as a duo still control everything going down below. The lobby is gonna get squeezed up. There's another hill, a mountain in the way. Kylie, once again, is another player surviving from that last game. Here to this one, the same patterns navigating the zone. Look at everyone else, though. They're trapped. They have to get by not only the entire server, but the space as well. Reason deleted, Trulix, Jerky, Queasy. They're bringing that FNCS champion vibe right back this season.
They're rocking that Axe of Champions in their spirit and in their minds here. They're trying to defend the crown. But Pink Nebs, who's had a great day one here, are trying to regain their footing here in day two on the front side of the zone. It's champion versus champion, Asian versus EU, and EU claps out Asia again. Force with it, trying to regain it. It's another Axe of Champion running around as well. We have 4 Axe of Champions, but here it is. Trulix, Jerky, and Queasy here, finally finding their form here in day 2, going up against the contender from day 1. Nebs, Pink, and Stompy working as a duo.
It'll be the 4th mountain there on a possibility of a res all the way down below, but the timing might not be there. They're sticking it. Nebs is going for it. Chuck Splash Cannon to keep his HP from the zone alive. Is he up? He's up. Now it's a 3v3, but there's no match for Stompy. He used them all to actually defend.
What?
Easy. Big shots taken on height. The slide pump lands again. The retake. It's coming through from Stompy.
No.
Another on the Queasy. No way.
No.
They're doing it.
No way.
He this down.
No way.
On the
No way.
Stompy
No way.
in.
No way. No way.
Wins out the game. Single-handedly getting all 3 players, Pink, Nebs, and Stompy, do the impossible.
No way! No way! I have no words, bro. No words. No words, child.
I don't even want to attempt to think about anything else. Zeke, please, take it away.
I thought that I've seen it all. I thought that this was just going to be another normal day of Fortnite. I thought this was going to be the normal finals. Apparently, everyone decided they were going to go absolutely hamburgers for no reason. Stompy, this was the craziest clutch of all time. What are you doing, brother? Oh my gosh, the composure needed to pull something off like that. The comeback from recovery, the moment to even pick your teammate up. I mean, oh my goodness, dude. This was next level, bro.
Oh my God. Look, Queasy, Chiles, and Drake, it's an absolute travesty. It is absolutely shocking. You know, there's so many words you can use. Stinker, howler, nightmare. It's everything that could possibly go wrong and worse. Like, you don't lose that. Like, we know Stompy's great. He's one of the all-time greats of EU. You know, back in the World Cup days, he was dominating the land. But he just whipped out his old form right there. That was not even real. That shouldn't have happened, right? If you don't know what just happened, that shouldn't have happened. Nobody should win that if you're in Stompy's position. You shouldn't.
Yeah, but he did, and he hit the shots. He's showing why. Throughout the World Cup qualifiers, he was the most dominant player. Throughout Season 8, he became the champion. Zeke still lost in the sauce. He still can't believe it as we say that. And you know, a lot of people throughout a lot of the previous FNCSs have not put the respect on Stompy's name. The Stompy, alongside Nebs, to pick up the res onto Pink, like, huge big brain play, because that also saved one bullet, right? That hit the shot from, I think it was Queasy, to knock down, which allowed Stompy to be able to win it. Huge, incredible play.
Oh my gosh, these teams, they know what's at stake, man. They want the Axe of Champions. They want to win it all. Oh my goodness. We got to talk about some other stuff with Malibuca happening here earlier on in the game. I'm still shaking. Take it away, love. Take it away.
Look, I just wanted to show people the duality of Fortnite, right? Because you know, we take a look at the game before this when Mr. Savage, you know, they have that amazing win. Everything's going rosy. You think to yourself, oh wow, they contested that steamy, but it's still going great. They've now won 2 games out of 5. Everything's absolutely amazing. But then you get them coming in, landing at steamy the game after, you know, on this massive high, and they get walked through. Malibuca takes out Ref's guard. No real hope there. And Reese, this is one of the big problems that, you know, these teams will have while contesting. We talked about the Asian winners who, you know, won FNCS, contested 10 out of 10 times, or 10 out of 12 times, sorry. You know, Mr. Savage and them, they're not going to be able to do this, like, every game. At some point, you just have to think it's not worth it anymore.
No, I know you got to think so, but there's no other options. Reality. Where else are they going to go? Anywhere else they go? They're contested at the same drop, so they might as well keep going where they're being successful. They were in 2nd, and now they've dropped down till 7th for Falcon, Refsguard, along with Andrea and Mr. Savage 2 now. So that's 5 placements down just by losing off spawn, which is tough. But with the huge clutch, with the huge victory royale from Pink, Nebs, and Stompy, that's pushed them all the way up into 1st place currently. 2 victory royales to their name, and I want to watch more. I have to see more from this team.
Honestly, I did not come into this weekend expecting to see what we've seen from these 3 players. That clutch from Stompy is going to go down in the history books. That is absolutely unreal. And like you say, Risa, I'm so eager to see now. You know, they've clearly got the hot hand, and everything they do, they're doing so many things right. And look, it's not perfect, right? It's not perfection. There are mistakes being made here and there, but they just have that sort of rhythm and flow right now where they are able to just account for any mistake. And you have Stompy, you know, hitting 1v3s. Like, you can't bank on that. You can't guarantee that every game. But boy, that is just absolutely nuts. You can see the players here now from 11 to 20. They'll all be watching that thinking, well, look, if they're going to be playing like that, we ain't got a chance. Like, how are we supposed to stop him? You know, if we're going to get into 3v1s and he's still going to win, what are we supposed to do about that? Nevertheless, there are so many games left, but wow, what a performance.
Yeah, and I think a notable thing to add there is that Queasy's team is now in 18th place after that. That looked like a game, like you mentioned, let's be real, they should have won that. They should have picked up the victory royale in the final game, but they ended up second. That would have been 2 additional eliminations to 4 points and another 5 points. So that would have another 9 points then, which would have put them up, I think, 6 slots up in the leaderboard alone. So that choke from them could be disastrous for the rest of the leaderboard. They seem to be playing absolutely on form today, but that final little closing out the game, but
that's just the confidence, just absolutely destroyer, and they'll be arguing. We
sure.
You get frustrated at your teammates sometimes, right? They will be so frustrated with each other how they've allowed that to happen, and hopefully it doesn't completely offset their mental going forward, because there are 6 games or so left, right? There's so many games that you can't afford to sort of switch off now, but I don't know how they recover from that one. If me and Reese, if that happened and you were the one that allowed, Stompy to clutch like that, I'm removing you as a friend. We're not playing it.
Block on Twitter, don't worry.
Yeah, you're done, it's over.
Well, guys, you heard the buzz, which means we have to go back in the game. I still have to recover from that. Remember, we've got another 6 games ahead of us because we began with Ace. So buckle up. We have more action like this up ahead of us. Sancho, Shayo, back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Zeke, and we're trying to recover myself. Trying to check my heart rate here. We're about to get into the throes of Game 7. Shayo, talk about a highlight show that FNCS is putting on here for Day 2.
I'm trying to recover, brain-wise. I don't remember any of the other games at all, except for that one. The clutch from Stompy. And remember what they did off spawn, Sancho. They defended, they waited, they stayed alive. They have to again. We cannot miss this team in another endgame.
They got a bunker down here. You cannot follow up with your greatest hits of all time. You cannot have one of those tracks that just don't bop anymore. Kha'Zix gets bopped, and Falconly now is going to get a trade right there, but nice Stompy baiting that out there, letting the teammate kind of take the brunt of that force here, and that just may be enough. Oh, nicely done. Wow, Stompy, okay, you're on one now, man. I looked on Twitter just to say, he's on one. They took that. Remember they got pickaxe? Remember that's how we started this broadcast? They got pickaxe, and all of a sudden they're on this new form, reaching new heights. Savage, Revsguard, they're gonna win this Steamy Stocks engagement. But man, my brain is like fried. It's frozen in time. He's frozen in time.
Everyone's back now. Savage winning his fight, Stompy actually going for the aggressive play and winning. The confidence is here. No one's actually, trying to do these weird trades, stay back a little bit, play for info. They're really capitalizing on any opening that they can. Micnup also getting clipped or, completely just clipped. Akumu, it looks like, all the way at Retail Row as well. Benji winning against Exterios. All the patterns we were watching yesterday from the fan favorite teams, the matchups that, a few analysts were predicting would go a certain way, they are going that way now. It looks like the entire server's back on form.
Yeah, back in the form. I agree with you on that. Day 1, this is what was happening, and it just shows you right there. Queasy, I think Queasy, like I mentioned in Day 1, the pattern that we were talking about from them, Shayo, as you mentioned, that is that they were still in game. They were there taking height. That zone was really difficult. They had it, and normally I would say 90% of the time, maybe 99% of the time, you don't lose that kind of advantage when you have height, and considering that the low ground was plumb out of mats here. Now Mappy's in trouble here. He's going to feel the pressure from the rest of Joe, Shadow, and Benji. And now we're going back to Force and Siberia Saboteur, who have turned around their fortunes here in Day 2. But it looks like this is not going to be very fortunate here outside of Retail Row.
Yeah, Trixie, Jaggy, they love to just find teams on rotation or just finishing fights, dive in, and pick them up, clean them up. That was their style on Day 1. We've kind of missed it, or they've been stopped multiple times, swatted like flies. On Day number 2, looks like this time gonna pack a little bit more of a sting all throughout for Forces. His shot club splash charges are completely down. Jaggy tends, they might just back off here. They might just want to go for the damage totally. And yeah, that's a lot, about 300 to 400 damage across all 3 players from there. Very good from Trixie. A nice push. They'll back the whole way away.
It makes me laugh because all you hear is just the car going, and they're just out, right? They just came on through, did what they had to do, and they're rolling out, and Red Rush is rolling out, and this is going to be one of those games, Red Rush, you just got to do what you can. Hold, he does have Mysterios' card, and that's what I learned in NA West. When you have that black bar right there, that means you do have a card there to go. So he has one of those cards so far, and now we're taking a look at Kirachi, which it feels like people will remember Stompy's play the most, but Kirachi right here, it's going to be one thing, and this is what I'm talking about. I'm finally seeing it. Savid was scooting by, skirting by in day one, no problem. We're living fine. Now,
big drop needs more power, more guarantee of surge damage all the way off of spawn. So yeah, Rifle save it. So they're getting kind of bullied too. So the big edits, blocks one shot, edits, hits another. Huge. The speed from there is insane. And boom, that's it. Not a single person getting fully eliminated. Yeah, two got knocked at the very end, but a very good bait for Stormy and Kiriachi to make that pinch possible.
and if I saw that on VODs, Kiriachi definitely saw that as well. Every time you see it, you look at that battle map, you're seeing their tracking, you instantly see that Save It constantly goes all the way down to that dish, rotates through Shantytown, and it's just uninhibited, just easy free. Now he has to pay the toll, and that toll ultimately cost him here in Game 7.
I must have a few, but there's so many more games to go throughout this day. Benji, Joe, Shadow, they're going to be alive off spawn for now. Mid game is their kind of tricky spot, getting out of Corny Complex, outside the POI, and moving on towards the end game. That was tough. Stompy, though, yeah, all the way from Season X to now, man is no stranger to winnings. 8 different games he's won in EU. He holds that record, rightfully so, too. I mean, if you've seen the style of play, the zones that he's very good at, and are these mountain zones, like that was very
I mean, we're talking about the glory days. You remember those broken houses right then and there, like south of Loot Lake? That was another huge mountain that Chapter 1 had. But yes, Aqua.
everyone's gonna have their shot at the throne. Some people have called it home for longer. Some are still defending it to this day or trying to.
Bye, Joe. There you
Okay,
go.
I was wondering.
I told you,
that team.
my brain is still frozen by Stompy. So also as well as Falcon Lee, his trio has been eliminated. Malibu has been eliminated. Sai has been eliminated. And then you have Karmi has been eliminated. And Wings and Karmi, day one, they were doing really good, man. I love their aggression into Pleasant Park. They were pushing Coral Castle, but so far their day two, not so great, considering that they're now sliding out of the top 10.
Yeah, you're talking about, you know, the difference from day 1 and 2. Look at the trio's on board right now. Fast Roki, Void, and Karma also had trouble on this day compared to the first. They're going with different tactics now. It's being quiet, looking for a shot here against Toos, the trio that's really good at affecting many later on in the game. If they take out these guys right here, if they even have a little bit of damage to interrupt their loop path, it'll be trouble. But Toos senses something.
Yeah, he's
heard
did.
a footstep.
I heard something.
The awareness is just there. Kiriachi will come up and see if he's okay. He'll base up a little bit, and now they hear Void. Void hears the Bills, understands that they're playing a little bit of defense. They might just force this fight.
It basically heard like a branch, like a stick break. Just like that. It was like now it's on high alert, and they're going to go ahead and build up this base and bunker down here. And I think, yeah, you don't want a piece of that. You just know that's going to be one of those fights drawn out. Hey man, sometimes fast food is not good for your diet. I just gotta let you know. I gotta let you know that dirt burger ain't worth it. And as juicy as it is, it ain't worth it.
Now Fast Roki just looking somewhere else now. Now it's a lesson in villainy. One of the rules is that you have to be careful not to make a sound. And if a branch does snap, who knows, you fall down in a pitfall, you get in a little bit of trouble. That's just what happens there to them. It just feels like Fast Roki's always looking to be the counter to a different trio, or to play, you know, in the shadows of someone else's power. It's not really finding that type of success today. Same thing with Hydro Zest and Backfeed, always looking to cause a little bit of ruckus, but not be the main target for a lot of fights. And since everyone is playing so passive, so separated right now at this portion of the game, they're having a little bit of trouble also getting elims. When we were watching in day number 1, they had 1 or 2, or they were really influencing, you know, people behind the scenes. They kind of seem like the hidden overlords of the mid game. Right now, they're just kind of a lot quieter.
And definitely they were puppet mastering everybody right there. It's like, you know, there's regulators in this world and there's instigators, and definitely they are instigators. And you see that retreat from Fast Roki there. They go right into another trio, and that's Toasty out there in Weeping Woods. So, hey, they didn't get a dirt burger there, but they do get to eat. And they get that maximum Storm Surge with that sniper shot. And Fast Roki is going to get credit for that elimination there. But as you're seeing, 6 trios are already out of this match here. And it's just so interesting. I feel like that previous game kind of felt like a throwaway game. It kind of, you know, there's a lot of weird things that was happening because we have the extra 2 games to work with. And I felt like a lot of people were trying new things. And so it's interesting to see where people go after this. Again, never historically done before. 8 games in day 2.
I feel like that game was more so less throwaway, a little bit more PTSD, forcing people to try things. As soon as you see a potential for a mountain zone, you want to get ahead of it, right? You want to be there as fast as possible. That's why the map seemed a little bit empty. And yeah, a lot of top teams fell off spawn. Void actually ends up going down here. Calmer, Fast Roki in trouble. We'll come back to that in just a sec, because these elims for default Sapphic Putric, they could be huge.
Absolutely huge, not only for their leaderboards, but for this match as well. Look at that. Very aggressive rotation coming all the way from Dirty Docks. They're picking up the pace. I talked about their woes in the semifinals, and they seem to get them better in day 1, and now they're getting really solid here in day 2. You're going to be able to try to pick up the pieces when it comes to Karma and Fast Roki.
I'll go back to talking about, though, you know, the differences from last game and how Cheers are playing and now. I feel like, you know, going towards the left side compared to the mountains, everyone kind of has that normal game plan. You know, the fields of what to do, everyone kind of has a little bit of space on both sides of the Venn diagram for this zone on how to play.
I think it's what those mountains are very tempting. You know, you aggro those mountains, those placements. You understand that once it goes around the mountains and up and over, you got to go all the way to height. As the Swedes gets a knock against Rotary, and I agree with you. Once the mountains are there, it kind of throws everything out the window. Your game plan you have is just, as you go automatically to DEFCON 5. It's like, all right, mountain zone, we know exactly where we need to go. Yeah,
this time, though, it's not going to be a big presidential threat on every single trio in the lobby. We'll have a lot of room to play, a lot of, you know, chances to get information to Kiriachi with his high base and identify all the different threats around him, and sense that Kylie with these beamings on trees is looking for vantage points as well. What a nice shot to that big UFO looming in the distance.
Yeah, the mothership. Oh yeah, I was just in awe right here, the rotation, the warp rotation that we saw here from Savage. Savage is literally on the other side of Kirachi. And Savage just came.
They move fast.
They move fast.
And think about it this way too. Kirachi started here, right?
That's what I'm saying.
And Savage is all the way in Steamy. And he has a better spot in this zone. But that might be also Sancho, right? Because Kirachi fought this game. They've never done that before. They kind of got into positions they haven't been in any game of the finals so far. And they might be a little bit off center with better loot.
That's interesting. We'll see how that kind of results. And last time they were just being consistent, playing for positioning, but now they decided to fight. I think they're feeling the pressure of the lobby. They understand that they need to get eliminations as well, so it could be that thing.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest difference for Kiriachi's team right now, they were first for like the last 3-4 games. This is the first game they're operating in second place, Pink, and after that big clutch, they've taken over.
And maybe they kind of poke the bear. I mean, Saban may take that personal and just try to go into these sludgy swamps. So they got to be careful here. You may get those 6 points there, but is those 6 points worth it for the long run? Because again, you have teams like Stompy putting on a show, and hey, Aqua's still there. Even though they were in shambles at that other end game, Aqua got some valuable eliminations, put us a couple points on the board, and got some great placements for his team.
Running back this time too. This is the most concerning thing for me. Seti, Kemi, Teak, historically one of the most consistent trios of the region, struggling with Surge once again.
Wow.
In terms of being landing somewhere mid-map, kind of a little bit on an off vibe or off center in terms of getting positioning in this zone. They're always ahead is what I'm trying to say, and it just seems like they've been a step behind this entire finals. Looking to actually equalize, though. They're pushing back. I think he's also suffering from Surge. So they need to land a pump before he gets taken out. 100 above now. It's enough for the moment. We'll watch that number go down so fast. 73 teams still in the lobby. This kind of feels like a 5th zone right now, but it's only the 3rd.
Yeah, it's been happening the entire time, but pitchers are definitely, more pitchers describe 1,000 words, and this is what I'm saying. This is what's happening to them. every time their rotation, they're surrounded by people who need surge. So they get pushed and they're always on the defense. It's a two-sided coin for them, and it's not a good coin. Either they need surge or they're surrounded by players that do need it and they get pushed and aggro. So that's what's been costing them their run, and you're right here. That is why they're not doing well as expected.
They're always caught in some type of surge black hole, so we'll have to try to get to a different side of the galaxy, different side of, you know.
Yes, I agree. Now, expert right now, oh man.
This is tough.
Rough.
Yeah, this
rough.
man's completely in outer space. That's just rough. But the good thing is, Benji is the one to get that loot with Shadow and Joe. Very good pickup from Shadow there to actually know exactly where the solo is going to be trying to rotate, trying to escape. Andy Chashi, they were kind of in that situation before that we just saw Expert in. Down on Surge, just trying to survive. A rabbit just running in a forest. Anyone could really just pick that up. This time, they're looking really good. South side of the base, as soon as I say that, they both get taken out and knocked. Never mind.
Hey, it happens that fast here. But just to talk about Benji, Joe, and Shadow real quickly, they're making dead side rotations. That's what they're doing in day one, and that's what I mean. They're primed to make a decent run here in day two. Their dead side rotations were on point, and they were always at the end game. Now they're going to push their way clean closer to center. There they are on your bottom mini map. There are those blue triangles right on the edge of this here. But let's go back to Sapphic Patrick and default here. I thought they were able to move. This is something that's been happening in EU. They just go to the edge and stop. If they took the time and maybe get a little bit more center, look how free center is. If they could just keep moving and not stopping on the edge of the storm line.
I mean, the issue is in Weeping Woods, this forest, it's really hard to navigate. Lots of space. It's not that traversable. Low ground's kind of really weird. And so many people are set up on hills or trees or vantage points you can't even see. So as a result, Sapphic trying to deal with stuff in front of him. He gets pumped in the back while trying to rotate. This is just tough. Even with Peppers, I mean, I guess they're saving it for a different zone. It's costing them a lot right now, and no one can really push all the way towards the center. All the people who are coming from the outside in, they're stuck on zone line. The only people at the center of the zone right now are the people who started there.
This is it. It's about a minute until zone closes here. And where zone 5 goes, that's going to be huge considering Logjam has been in this entire time. So, you know, Kirachi has been vibing, and he did get some good storm surge to initially onset his hold there. The question is, will he have the beams as well? You've seen Jackie come out from caddy corner, their head in position. You see Fast Roki there, who's been all over looking for storm surge, only down to a duo. Now you have Cammy setting Teak now, and better pastures on their own tarp. And look, no neighboring people. So when it gets to that 50-man surge, I think they're going to be a lot better onset. But the question is, we already saw them on the borderline. They need to get tags right here. They need to be aggressive and open up those edits and make sure they get those beams.
Yeah, the win condition right now for Steady Cammy's just staying above Surge. If they survive, they can play so well all the way towards the end. They're always consistent. It should be below when the update comes in. They need to land a few shots here or there. Sancho, absolutely correct. The other big thing, too, with this zone, I mean, it'll happen in about 2 once we start moving, but so many teams, you mentioned it, like Kiriachis, have been sitting still. Even Steady Cammy teams, they haven't moved around that much. Everyone has so many mats, and with trees kind of separating low ground and high ground, you can see it the whole way through. If this zone goes straight into the forest, there should be so many different fights for height. Kiriachi has so many mats left. Savage has barely even used any. All these bases have just been sat in the entire time. Everyone is waiting to be the king of this lobby.
Every time we drone over to Aqua, this Tayson is always at their feet. It's just always happening, and they're always jockeying for position. You have Nebs right there as well, kind of trying to assess you with those metal ramps. And of course, you have Kirachi, who's been on the high ground this entire moments here when moving into the end game. But Deal Aqua and Noah Riley are in 3rd place right now, really consistent.
Yeah, and you can see the battle between 2 big bases. Who's going to the high speed? Wow. Mistake from Vadil, but he has that medkit. He has the minis to get back. It's this trio and Kiriachi's in the distance that have the highest bases at the same elevation.
Vadil has Fireflies, and you know he's going to be ready to use that to take that height if he needs to.
Yeah, he gets at the 4th.
Oh, no!
But there's a trio here. Splash actually jumps up. Where was Aqua? What happened? The Aqua's on the backside. Noah Riley distracted. The entire trio gets just completely fractured.
It was all of a sudden a flank from the backside there from Mawaka and Splash and Co. And they were able to take away this high ground advantage, but it doesn't matter. Zone 5 goes south here. But right now, our 3rd place team is in shambles, and they were already below Surge here. And this might be it. The swan song is over for them. temporarily, but Splash and Mawaka and Koro put a huge wrench in those plans here. But all this structure here has to move and rotate, and they have to go down south, and that just means Kirachi has the advantage, but also Nebs as well, as you see, are now going to rotate around. I like what Benji, Joe, and Shadow are doing. Last time at this moment, they were start cranking up to height, or like ramping up to height, but electing right now to stay on the ground, which Benji has a lot of experience being a low ground fighter.
Benji low ground is a very, very fun thing to watch. Matchmaking and Stompy is honestly, though, the highlight of the day. They're not even at
highlight of the year.
That's actually up for contention. There have been some crazy plays. That
there.
one was nuts. No mountain for them to climb, though. They're going to actually have to just stay on top of the entire server. First place is where Big Nebs and Stompy are. Kiriachi in second. First on low, second all the way on height, and third we just saw fall. So it'll be a battle of two Titan trios looking to take that lead.
I spy with my little eye that Kirachi structure only be held not that strong. It's like about 4 boxes there that are holding it. It's all made out of brick. So if someone wants to chop it, they can.
I mean, we've seen the pattern so far at Endgames. No one should be staying on their first base from the 5th zone. They always launch off. They go all the way to where the zone's moving. I think Kiriachi's learned that by now. So unless they want to stay there and lose height, we will see in just a little bit.
Here we go. Here it's about to get to first moving, and it goes back up north.
Up north, and Hen, Janice Chapix. Looks like Hen might take a lot of damage, maybe be knocked, picked back up. But Splash is really putting on the pressure.
Now everybody's got to move out here, and all those people that have the advantage or high ground are going to have to rotate out here. In about 10 seconds, the Storm is about to push everyone out of this area completely. Nebs, Pink, and Stompy now have 3 eliminations, so even though if they go down, they're about to cross into the placement threshold, and it could be one of those matches that you need if you're holding on to first place. Just don't go down at this point here. Try to get to the top 10, and this will be definitely a W of a game, one of those moral victories here as it go for the pad.
Kiriachi all the way on height, Nebs flies right by. This is the perspective of your first place team holding on to the lead. Still, long game to be played. Kiriachi moving all the way across. They've given up that base completely. Actually, they've expanded it and connected it. Shadow's going all the way towards the top, and Jetta actually flies by. Joe is in control at the cost of Benji Fishy's shield. Kiriachi has to give things up. I mean, it's no different than what we've been seeing before, but they actually go all the way to second height, not battling with Hen. Things are getting crazy, kind of claustrophobic for every single team. Not enough builds either. This high ground is just extended the whole way through. They're still fighting for it. Kiriachi does not want to let down.
There's not a lot of air up here. It's getting thin because there's so many trios up here taking up all the oxygen, and Joe, Benji, and Shadow here are breathing the finest purest air at the moment. But look at Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky getting in position.
That is a very sneaky plan. They go for the launch pad too. Nebs, Pink, Stompy, so smart. They're letting all these trios fight. Have at it. Go for height. We'll play the placement. We'll wait for the game to come to us.
There it is, Jerky. There you talk about the position, but Kiriachi responds, and storming right to Kiriachi, who have been waiting, holding on to height, send beams out Queasy way and push him off the pedestal that is this height right now. Kiriachi, Tucson storming right here with some great games, 3 eliminations. Look at this high pad there. Trulix, oh my goodness, we take to the skies, and now we go back to height again, but Trulix is still up there, and he's getting beamed. Can he find his connections? No, he doesn't, but someone else is coming up. Here it is. Jerky's coming back again.
This pinch is absolutely astronomical in the skies. It's Trulix with a distraction. Kiriachi finally goes down. Queasy was not done. He kept track of his teammates. Now it's 2v2. Deuce with Stormy right. Deuce low on HP. No shields. Drop down below. Stormy alone all the way next to the clouds. Can he survive? He's going to be taken down a little bit. Looks like Jerky also goes. Benji's in his box. Benji deleted. Tack shots. They also not enough to actually keep Deuce alive. Trulix and Queasy will have it, but it's only 2 players to control high ground.
It looks like Shadow's going to have to go solo. Hen, who's been a solo for a very long time, is still on his feet. And Alex Vino getting some eliminations in the feed. Hadi, Elacras, and Tripper, who had a great day 1, could take height, and they are looking for it right now with the chop right there against Trulix. Deceptos here on the other side.
The 5th height retake. We're watching this game.
There it is.
And Tripper, Elocras, and Hadi get it for free. Hen, no way, gets bopped by Savage on low ground. He has his home too, so he has the entire control of the low ground hemisphere. Shadow's trying to work it too. There's a little bit of a split from Shadow and his teammates. It's Savage as a solo in Weeping Woods. You've seen this before, but not this bad. 34 HP. He might not have enough to tank and deal the damage.
He might have enough there with the chug cannon just to do a little bit more. All he has to do is just continue to keep on ticking, keep on rocking, and hold out that wall. Going down to one build left here. Savage coming into this fight. He's doing so well. 7th place, slowly sliding out of the top 5 here. But this could be the moment here. Tayson gets eliminated by Splash and Moaka, who've been a nuisance all this day. Savage here is on the low ground. Pump out. No builds. Looking for those E-limbs. Doing his best, but no. Gets beamed from high. But Reason is still on this fight at the very end of the day. But it is Hottie, Tripper, and Elo Crash with the 6 eliminations and the victory royale. Man, hey, we remember we were seeing this trio come to form last season. And now what a great time to get a victory royale. It looks like everybody from that northeast side of the map is racking up VRs.
Yeah, 4th place overall rolls in on a 5th height retake that happened in that game. It was crazy. Kira actually put up a very good fight, but that should shake up the boards a little bit, at least from 2nd all the way down to 10th. Very close game overall, and a nice textbook win from, the God Squad.
Hey, it's what happens when you do a turn play in a tournament and it works for you. Everything's going to work for you here on out. Nice VR. We're going to go ahead and take it to Zeke, Levin, and Reese to break it all down.
Thank you guys so much. Game number 7 on the day, but game number 3 specifically of 8 for happening today specifically. My goodness, my words are about as jumbled as this last game was. Tripper and Elecrat's Hotties, 6 eliminations and the VR. But guys, there was so much more happening. Andretta sitting on 6 eliminations by himself there. And then Reason getting to make it into the top 3. Once again, the victory royale is going to be super pivotal for these teams trying to claw their way back in a top 10, even top 5, right? But there's still all these other trios where you might not see exactly what they're doing, but they're operating in the shadows, right? They're trying to get these eliminations. They're trying to be consistent with that placement. And right now it's working for them.
Yeah, and I think, the big thing I think with Hoyt and Shippen is that yesterday, Reese, we were talking about how if there was going to be a day they would do good, it would have been yesterday, right? Like everything was setting up so perfectly. Finally, they're having that good performance we sort of talked about them potentially having.
Yeah, and that's really fantastic for them, right? We saw almost that game number 1 that they had the strategies down with a turret to blast them out of the sky, which looked super good. They were 7th off the top of my head on day number 1 overall. So from then so far, they are continuing that through. I think they're going to move up big time with that victory royale that they had there, because like I said, they've been super consistent throughout the games today as well. They had a 9th, a 10th, and now the 1st as well. So they have been looking super, super strong so far, and they're definitely a contender for the 1st place at this moment.
Yeah, I'd love to kind of talk about the team doing well in 2nd place that started specifically today, okay? And that's the Symptos' trio. They are looking pretty good right now, friends.
Yeah, they're looking really good. You can see they've actually got the most points today now, right? So they've now overtaken. So they're Floki Commit. You can see them on this west side of Misty. Yesterday, they were getting bullied by Andlex's team over here, but this is kind of the stuff that they have to deal with in the early game, right? Notice that Queasy has landed up on the Guardian Tower near where they're dropping, right? Which leaves Floki Clement and Citos with barely any materials really that they can work with in terms of and chest, because they only get 11 in that west side. So for them, they have to find out a path to get some form of loot, right? So you see them trying to rotate up to the north, and this is what they got to deal with. Queasy understands that they're going to take this rotate. He goes for the Storm Surge tags on them, and they're getting obliterated. This is already 50 of their shield gone at that moment too. But not only that, Art Skill goes with some absolute laser eyes from this distance, takes another 50 damage as they're rotating at the same time, and Andalex and X-Squeeze are all focusing on them as they make this rotate. So given the circumstances that this team is currently in, that Floki, Clement, and Deceptos are in their early game, only having 11 chests, the fact that they have gained the most points today in the 3 games is absolutely outstanding in all honesty, and that has pushed them up into 7th when they were somewhere in the 10th till 20th range at the end of day number 1.
Yeah, actually, man, when you frame it like that and you see all the teams they're having to deal with, it is insane. But look, you can see Pink, Nebs, and Stompy sitting in 1st place with a 5-point lead, which isn't much, but it's a lead nonetheless. Hottie, Elecras, and Trippin with that victory royale are now sitting in 2nd as well. And Rescott and Jera and Mr. Savage, we saw win a couple games ago in 3rd, but it's still very fine margins towards the top. Still not much in it, and with Vino, Tayson, and Reason seeming to be in a bit of form now, Hendrix and Chapik still kicking it. A lot of the top contenders are finally starting to find a bit of a rhythm now, Reese.
Yeah, and definitely, we already mentioned Vino's team as well. Like that's the big one, right? Where they were 13. And then in the other ones, they just really weren't able to capitalize on the rest of them, right? They weren't able to get the big point games that they're known for. But now, the last 2 games, a 6th and then a 3rd, and the one before that, they were 10th as well. So the points that they've gained today have almost been more than they managed to obtain yesterday overall. Still with tons of games left remaining, which is crazy from them. Hen's still in it, Kiriachi's still in it, Refscar's still in it. Obviously, Hotty's team is doing super well alongside Pink as well. But if you move over to the next page, we're going to see those teams who now are going to have to speed up a little bit. City Kamitik being one of them.
Yeah, and as you can see, right, you know, there are some teams here on this page who, you know, you would expect maybe to be a bit higher. I think when you look at last game in particular, you know, Benji, Shadow, Joe, those guys, there was a stage where they took height. It seems like they're falling victim, right, of, you know, one of the many teams who looks to try and take height, but just isn't able to hold it well enough when it counts. And so they're struggling there. Queasy, Trudix, and Juriku probably feel the same, right? They've had their stretches in that period, but generally, things are starting to shape up how maybe you would have expected, right? A lot of the top dogs really getting involved, and it's making this finish a lot more interesting.
There's all these trios, man. I'm telling you, everyone has their eyes set on first place, and I like to see that. Now, remember, we have another 5 games to play. So a lot of these teams, as now they're warm, we're going to see some very big changes happen in these next several games. But there it is. You heard the battle bus, which means we got to jump back into game. Shy Wager, Sancho West, let's do this one more time.
Thank you so much, Zeke. It is game 8, and we're getting the battle bus ready. And wow, Hottie, Elocrast, and Tripper, they're talking about a new name on the scene that's been developing. This is not a surprise to me. Is it a surprise to you, Shia, that they were able to rack up a victory royale here in this final stage?
I think it was inevitable. I didn't expect it this kind of early. I thought it'd be kind of later, but they've been trying for it, you know, every single day from walls to, you know, this point now, getting that win, upsetting height. It finally happened, and it might again.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about. Tayson was going toe-to-toe against Elocrast during the last season. We're just seeing what kind of moxie that trio has in Tripper there. And they've been doing really well third party into Steamy Stacks. But here we go. This is basically as if we're getting into, we still have so many games left to go. So nothing is guaranteed. Do not write this game off. There's no champion yet that is going to be in the running. I mean, this is what's so exciting, that so many people are close. And hey, we already seen a big 50 bomb throw down by Aqua's trio. So all it takes is a huge pop-off game, double digits, and the victory round. And we're just seeing right here, it is possible, as Buzz, who did make it to Endgame, now goes down to Psy, which it looks like to me, it looks like Psy's trio has moved somewhere else.
Looks like Tripper and Elocrast might be forced to move into not the land of the living in a second. Barely even landed yet. Being down to 99 and 50 HP respectively. They're going to have a rude awakening to the start of this game. Meanwhile, Stompy, Nebs, they're going to be rolling. Falcon Lee, ZQ here too. Kazakh still alive. Not sure if these trios will collide. They do. Falcon Lee, Nebs is going to be the first points of engagement. All 3 players from both sides ready to fight for the 8th time in the finals.
You just got to hold your breath every time. And what's been happening, though, when Falcon Lee wins this engagement, Shio, is that they get pushed out into the open. But like you mentioned, if Nebs, Pink, and Stompy could hunker down, go into these basements, make it where it's not worth fighting, then they can survive. But just look at this. This is the pressure that they're feeling right now. They're electing to go ahead and disengage because they know what's at stake, because they're sitting in first place by only 5 points, because Hottie, Elocrast, and Tripper right there, they're going to be able to stay on their feet. We've been seeing them get to in-game. What was that stat? They were there in the top 10 multiple times already here in the finals?
Yeah, and when it comes to Stompy, he's just used to winning games entirely. When it comes to the entire trio on both sides, you know, they're both looking to survive towards the end. Even here, it's kind of the same scenario of contestation over 8 games, but the difference is I don't think anyone here, all 6 players out of all of them, want to disengage.
It feels like it's cooled down a bit. It's cooled down a bit. They're being measured here. That's what you're seeing here. The intensity is getting up here. Again, would be technically the second game here of day 2, but we've been going at it for a while here. And and Shredder gets greeted with a parting gift right there, and that's gonna give the Malibu Cuz trio happy right now, because we just got a huge Storm Surge tag. We're just gonna keep rolling out.
Yeah, they want to be careful, because I think this is where Hottie and his entire trio that won the last game like the third party as well when they hear that fight happening, especially when zone is kind of further away. So a good identification there for Malibuca to be able to just break away, go all the way towards the zone. I see that green arrow on the beach on the bottom right of your screen, very close. They look forward, see no shots really firing. I don't think Hottie will come through towards Steamy this time. That being said, Savage gets to play, and on the other side, the Loot Boys don't. Zestin taking out Exterios is looking for the next shot to Hydro, might be in a little bit of trouble.
I gotta wonder here. It looks like this kind of corny complex has pushed Red Rush outside to mid-map, and that's into the chaotic arms of Hydros and the Loot Boy Co. trio. Now Hydro and Backby have to operate as a duo here. They're getting beams here from the people up there on that Defiant dish here, but Hydro, Backby, and Zestin, they're getting to mid-game here. They're doing really well, but it is these risky engagement that they're taking that, as you mentioned here, instigating, causing chaos against people who just want to rotate. They just want to get tagged, they want to rotate, but the Loot Boys are here to fight.
They want to get that surge done. Might come at a cost of a teammate, but they do have Zestin's card right now, so they can't go overboard with an Exterios. Hydro must have forgotten about the box fight he was doing right below his current lair. He gets a big tag, tries to get the whole way away, but Hydro drops down the last one in his trio. He gets deleted.
And so much pressure coming from those mountain ranges. He went down for the high flying maneuver, was hoping to get that hit with the pump as Mappy is going to roll out here. But you're seeing a little bit more of adjustments are happening. Mappy, Asterios, and Red Rush, I don't know. I got to take a look here. Is Benji still up on his feet? It looks like so far, yes. They've been pushed out. Yes, he does get a knock against Sean. So Benji has been doing really well. And Z, Andy, and Chassis here, they're here to fight against Benji. But Benji's been having Corny Complex locked down in the entire finals.
Really have. Sean VP though, I mean, they've kind of been making Endgame out of this POI, outside of it a little bit as well. We'll be stealing a little bit of that power away from Benji for now. Looking at the state of the whole game to this zone, Central again, anything could really happen when it comes to center type zones that have Pleasant, Corny, Weeping, Boney in them. It's just kind of a game of control, and a lot of people get to play at the same time. Height switches hands like we just saw at Weeping. You see a lot of people mid-game get into trouble in a lot of fights because they're battling for mountains, battling for position.
And this is zone 1. It is center here. So if you're Hand Janus and Chapix fans, they're up here. They've been making these rotations that goes all the way towards the dirty dock side, and they kind of hook into. But every time they do that, yeah, at the beginning, a lot of eliminations, and that's why they were averaging the most after day 1. But it really cost them their placement that they're known for. And that is a trio that's just slowly there. They're looming. They're in the shadows. They're in 6th place coming into game 8. And you're just waiting for it because, again, one pop-off game and you're there. There's the people at the top of the board. They're being contested. Who knows? Hottie, Helicrash, and Tripper could get dunked on at Dinky Dish, or maybe they go for a third party. Revscar being contested out there. Steam Stacks, Kirachi may be contested with 7. So the opportunity is there for Hand Janus and Chapix to win another FNCS championship.
Definitely is, but they have to put in the work to get all the way back towards that top side. 6th place currently right now. They have a lot to do in terms of jumping into first. They have to be even more consistent than they are right now. For Pink to hold on to 186 points, that 10-15 point lead reduced to now just 5 ahead of Hottie, Elocrats, and Tripper. They're going to be going right past Rito Row a little bit, attracting the attention of Mcnup, who must have won, and the entire trio eats another sniper rifle shot. Before it was Stompy, this time it's Pink. They don't have that many chests to work off of because remember, they disengaged, they never even won the entire fight. So all the damage they take, it'll actually hurt a lot more comparatively to other trios.
And Sai's trio has decided to go from Rita Row over to that Defiant Dish where Ingram is. Ingram has not been doing well when he's contested. We've seen this time and again, even in the qualifiers and semifinals. So they're going to have a little bit more power against Stompies, as you mentioned, because they kind of retreated. They disengaged here. So this is a crucial juncture for this trio here if they want to hold on to that number 1 spot.
There's still 4 games to go after this. They'll have to hold on for a long time.
Just hold on. They would just want to go home. You know what I mean? Just hold on. They want to go home. That's what they want.
Reason, Taste, and Vino, I feel like this is the biggest surprise of the day overall. We were expecting a lot more domination, a lot more, I don't know, loudness in the conversation when it comes to playing for height, when it comes to being active at endgame, but it seems like they're just looking for clutch situations, looking to fly by. And right now I'm looking at Nebs, and I'm kind of worried because there's 3 teams around him, and he's got no shield.
No shields. And this is it here. Stomping Nebs in Pink. We were talking about them earlier. Now they have to survive this juncture right now. And Red Rush, Mappy, and Asterios, they're here to put a little bit more pressure into this fight. A little bit more messy here. And you don't want to fight around that upgrade station because sometimes you can't build to it. It gets a little bit weird. Nebs, Stompy, and Pink are going to retreat back into metal builds here as Asterios, Red Rush, and Mappy here are going to go ahead and pick up Micken up here. And Sai is just has to totally disengage and get out of here. Now, quickly before, you mentioned Vino, Tastin, and Reason, right? They are at least... They're turning it around. past 2 games, 6th place and 3rd place. So, hey, they're putting it together. They got about 94 points. They're doing a lot better than day one.
Usually ramping up for something good. The only issue I have with that team right now is they don't have, like, you know, that big power game coming in. They've kind of been just in the shadows. They're picking up a lot of the scraps overall, but to win EU feels like you might have to have, you know, that one victory royale that really puts you all the way up in the lead. Sai getting taken out. I don't think by stomping entirely. We'll see with the stomp right here because I didn't see the knock. They'll shake down to have a little bit of an idea to see where people are. It was pink. Now picking up might be hunted down in these builds.
What a great response, though. They were in a tough spot. They were hunkered down in their builds and metal, retreating, but with the power, I believe they had that chug cam. They were able to respond, get back into fighting health here. So gonna go for the edit through, trying to push through, and yes, pushes him right into his teammate's hands there, and Pink cleans up that engagement as well. It was so funny, you know, again, I was going to social media to see what Stompy was saying, and Pink responds, I helped carry him there. So that's what you love to see, teammates going back and forth and having fun with it all. But right now, we talked about it, that ultimate third party, now it's kind of bled through these rotations right now, and Savage and Greta's are clashing with top 2.
Yeah, they are, and Hen's also inside the conversation. I don't think Savage knows there's a trio right behind him. The beam will come through as he tries to farm up a little bit of metal for that end game, and now Savage and Rescar, they understand what's really at stake around them. They're pinched between 2 teams that really like to get all the way towards the end when they play for Search.
The gravity of the situation is getting thicker. The air is getting denser. And speaking of the air up there, it is Aqua. And now David going up against the top of the board again. Last time it was Kirachi at 4th place, taking him down. Now he has to deal with Vidil, who's currently sitting in, who slipped out of the top 3, now in 8th place. And luckily the Parasite there takes a brunt of that damage. It's like a helmet almost there. That's just a great way. I really believe as well, speaking of the Parasite, is you know, Benji's great run in that opening qualifier had a lot to do with the Parasites. Remember, they were a lot stronger. Now they're balanced, and a lot of their movement and a lot of their plays that they made in those box fights were because of the Parasite's strength. So we'll be interesting to see if Benji could kind of get back into form without that advantage.
It'll be interesting to see if this is also going to be a swing game for Vidil, O'Reilly, Aqua. Although they've been, you know, somewhat consistent the entire day when it comes to getting towards the top. Even yesterday, playing very good games, having wins. Thing is, sometimes if they're not going for those wins, they barely even get points in the games they missed out, right? In the games they don't have power. Yes. So this next swing game that comes in, they're gonna have control of high ground entirely, not be lost to the zone. Everyone has to make it in, plus Surge. It will be difficult. When it comes to Savage, though, first EU team with a victory royale after rebooting a player. So a lot of the times when, you know, one person goes down, sometimes 2 people clutch it out. Never really get a teammate back and then winning a game entirely. Savage has done it, new form, and it's looking good.
Tayson's picked up a trio wipe in the feed right now, but now we're going to go back into Noah Riley, Vidil, and Aqua, as you were mentioning here, and they might be swinging in a direction that they don't want to, considering in the previous 3 games, 24th, 11th place, and 20th place, and not a lot of points, and Vidil is knocked right there. He gets picked back up with very few HP in his bank right now. Oh no, where did that? I think that was glide. Was that a glide through? I heard it glider for a brief second, and the hole was open, and they went down the chimney, and it's not Santa Claus giving out gifts, it's pain that's being dished out.
I don't think Aqua even planned for that. I just wanted to retake. Absolutely perfect timing. Really unfortunate for Toast who kind of falls to those bills, and now Elder, Rotary, they're going to be looking for something to do to kind of get right back into the game. Only 2 players. The reboot won't be anywhere close by either. I mean, free for Aqua, though. I was about to say, with Vidil knocked, right? That is an issue. They like to go past this mid-game unscathed, and they usually don't gain anything either. They're pretty passive until the very end. They got affected. I was about to say that's bad, but then a free Elam falls with that chimney. Christmas time.
Yeah. Absolutely. It could be that refresh that you need there. And I saw this last season with Vidil and Noah Riley. The reason was it's these rotations that they kind of fell down to early on. And this is it. If they could survive this engagement with Aqua here, that's going to be huge. And no matter what, you know, I'd rather survive that right there and get those placement points. But I'm just surprised that this engagement has been going on for so long. Talk about a battle. Savage got elimination, and Hinjaz and Chapix are inching closer and closer into this conversation. they are eavesdropping into this Hottie, Tripper, and Eelcraft battle.
It might be time to hang up the phone. We got to move, Sancho. 40 seconds. The zone's about to come in. Not even on the screen for Refsguard, Savage, and Andretta just yet. And Genesis Chappics are waiting to see exactly what the move will be here. I tag up this trio as they go across and try to get towards a certain point. We'll have to go right by a river. Bridge where a trio's probably held up, farming a lot of metal. We see one over there, but not sure exactly who it is. Surge won't be that big of a problem either with 71 players here. So everyone gets to play their zone. Wings and full net right below them. Elder, Vidil, this fight's actually going straight towards the very end now. Lots of shield loss on Noah Riley and Aqua's side. It's a 2v3, and they're still having trouble just confirming this fight.
Haymakers are just going back and forth on all sides of the map right here. This is kind of the same situation that we were on board with Refsguard here. Always on height, has the man advantage against Rotary, and Elder now is on the back foot. Elder goes down. Rotary now is just being barreled, stuffed, and out. It was really solid work there. Oh, there it is. Elder says poop pow, surprise, but Vidil, no scare tactics here. This man does not get afraid in the scary movie.
That's the first signs of life from this trio when it comes to mid-game. Past that, for everyone else, they're finally getting active, getting moving. All the way a second zone starts to close. Is that another player right above Savage on the backside of Solo, just waiting for him to move? There's no way these guys have to go through every single trap in the game to just make it past, you know, that mid-game portion. Refsguard too, he doesn't have these inflatables to really move around. He's gonna be kind of in trouble, worried. Guys, please don't leave me behind. Wings and full net, they're trying to take me. It's all good though. They make it to a house, they get to refresh a little bit and then move on.
I'm getting deja vu, man. Last season, this is where Savage and Refsguard and Dretta, they had that day 2 thing where the rotations just got a lot stickier as it was getting closer and closer to the final frame of game 12. Right now, they're still navigating, still some very close moments for Savage, Refsguard, and Dretta. I think they saw at least 4 or 5 trios sitting up there in that battle. So, hey, that's what's going to have to take there. You're going to have to move on through. They're currently sitting on top 3, and now we're on board with number 8 here, going to glide through, and they're going to go right past the neighborhood of the Kiriachi, who's now slid down to 4th place, who's been in first for a long time in this set of games.
I'm wondering, how did Aqua, how did Savage, when the zone was all the way in Weeping, get such a, you know, good priority? And then once it's centered, once it's closer to their POI, almost near Steamy, they're having trouble rotating in.
It's true. I mean, the disengage is happening. The third parties, you know, we talked about it, those home zones, that gives open, like the secondary zones end up getting taken out by other trios.
Absolutely. And these kind of relationships between trios are also forming. You just saw it on screen right there, Aqua versus Toos. These guys have been side by side the entire day. We talked about it a little bit on top of show, but somehow landing on opposite sides kind of each other to still find a way to meet up, battle for the same positions, go for height overall. Both have had experience being almost in first place when it comes to Aqua's standard, and Kiriachi before was in first. Now they're kind of closer to each other. Kiriachi 4th place overall, Aqua 8th. The same basis side by side. Sapphic though just got picked up. Service catching up. Look at the HP soon. There it is. And the mech kit popped off. Default's going to be affected. Their fighter is down for now, but this duo can still clutch it up.
You talked about people being close to each other, and then Sapphic and definitely Malibuka are going to get a lot closer, because I think Malibuka is making adjustments and pushing towards that Dirty Dogs area, considering that he is being pushed out as Steamy stacks there. There goes the launch pad. They're going to glide on through. Hopefully no eyes are looking their way. Now you talked about the fighter default out, so it's up to Sapphic and Putrick to get closer into the zone. What a great glide. No tags their way, and they're going to have the ability to walk on through. There is a little bit of pressure there, but here it is. All eyes are right now at Hottie, Tripper, and Eelcraft, the ultimate third party, the Instigators here, feeling the pressure and feeling the burn now. And this is what happens when you're sitting on top of the board of the FNCS. It gets a little hot.
They're right now in maximum overdrive, top 10 in the last 6
like
games.
that.
And at the same time, the biggest thing is that they're taking out all these kind of, it seems like newbie third parties coming in. They're kind of sure if they want to maybe affect other trios, they want to take a few shots, indecisive. Hottie, Tripper, Nero class, they come in, they know how to third party, they take them out, take their position. Now they're the ones bullying Mr. Savage.
I always love metaphors in motion, and the fire was at their feet and they doused it out with a chug cannon, but they have to deal with Storm Surge considering that they're below it. Now we're on board here with Sapphic here, who's been in the scrum here. No, Storm Surge not acting at the front door, but they could be easily be eliminated as a knock from Noah Riley comes to P7 Tour and gets a full trio wipe against Malibuka. There, Sapphic has been eliminated. That is your 9th place team going to this fight. It looks like Savage gets knocked by Hottie. It's been a long time coming, but now Hottie gets traded out.
Yeah, it's going to be Vino, Tayson on the backside. They're paying attention to every third party now, trying to get their foot inside this entire 12-game series, and Refsguard's taken out too. So, I was calling it. Elocrats, they like to push the pressure. They want to get serious with the third party. They started the fight though, and it's Tayson actually that has the advantage and cleans everything up.
That's 2 and 3 ousted right then and there, and Tayson is going to have the spoils of all the loot, gets rewarded a chug cannon, and hey, one of the famous sound bites in video game history, they're heating up at the right time.
Now we'll see Vino, Tayson, Reason now overtaking and possibly right close to Kiriachi in 4th place. Pink and Neb Stompy all the way up in 1st. Also looking, this is going to be the perfect game for them to further their lead. Have to deal with Aqua, that was on a very good side of the zone right now. Trixie, this is not going to be early game. You can't just roll up with a pad on trios, get some free points. As a solo, it's tough. Hengen and Chapix, though, they've been looking really, really good this game. Slightly deceitful, too. Right now, though, they have to try to stay invisible as Hen goes back and forth, gliding by. Low cost to actually live, though. A lot of the times people get knocked and then revived. He looks to just get in with 56 HP. Janice and Chapix should help him out with his pressure. Found. I think he kind of took the wrong plane to get here, Sancho. He's by himself.
Hen's been in this lane before. We've seen Hen who gets lost and gets separated from his teammates. Now they kind of get all back together, and this is what we're talking about. They operate really strong as a trio, but yeah, even if they lose a duo, they go down to the solo, they do very well here, and they have the ability to get those impact placement points here. But we're getting into the end game, and the big names are making an appearance here. Tayson, Vino, and Reason have 5 eliminations walking into, and they have about a mid pool that they go to get the front side of the first moving in Zone 6.
There are also 2 of the most active trios on the map that have had a lot of information and a lot to say in third parties. Yeah, Tayson, Vino, Reason, that's one. The second, I feel like it's going to be Hen, Janice, Chapix, who've just been looking for any type of play to make the entire time. The other side of the coin, though, the passive ones who've just kind of been waiting on hype. They're not roaming around or low ground looking for third parties. It's Kiriachi, it's Aqua. They're just waiting to see exactly what they can do. Stompy is also in the fold somewhere. Tayson, Vino, Reason, though, they got to fly. Information aside, it's time to play the game.
All right, there's the Storm Surge, and there it is. Everyone's flying over, trying to get to the front side. Janice is there on the front side. Diablo is up there, but hey, Queasy Jerky are still up on their feet, and Vidil gets eliminated by Karma. Oh my goodness, we're going to have to see if that is going to be a full wipe from them. Now Noah Riley goes down. Stompy gets knocked. That's not going to be good news for them. That's going to be a good opportunity for Tayson, Vino, and Reason to move up the board quickly.
Beef in the Storm looks like they were not able to catch the pad for this rotation, so first place is down. Now Kiriachi, Tayson, Vino, Chapix, Hen, everyone that was waiting in the fold is looking to have a seat at that top 3 table.
This is it. It's time to eat. The dinner bell has been rung. This is your time to get fed and get your stomach full, Tayson, Vino, Reason. We've been waiting this entire day, this entire weekend for you to show up, and right now you are showing up at the right time. But Cammy Sedetik, who have been all around in the business, are now in the front side going on to the dead side rotation. But Neb, Stompy, and Pink, now Nebs and Pink are working as a duo, and this is it, Pink. You're going to carry this to it? You could do it right here, and this will be the first match to get some great eliminations.
I thought that Nevs and Pink might have been out for the count, but they're actually still alive. So first place is still working on big defense. Everyone else has to hold on for the moment. Nevs now with 2 elims. Stompy clutched out 1 game for the whole team. Pink had a very good supporting play, and Nevs did the revive, but now it's up to the duo that didn't get any of those elims all the way back 2 games ago. Can they clutch it out and keep that lead at a very big distance?
Teak and Chapix clash on the low ground right there. They're both on opposite sides of the low ground. Again, Jerky, Trulix, and Queasy sitting up the high ground, but we have all our eyes on Tayson and Pink's trios.
Oh
both
my
them
God.
doing oh well. Oh my goodness, Tayson. You almost put that man on a highlight. Matzo just avoids being clipped, and now Tayson has a taste, and he's going to go down and keep pushing towards the low ground. I like it. He's cutting off a lot of people, but he may have taken a big bite right there. It gets clapped out of the lobby. Down and out.
Finally, though, Reason actually finishes the work that Tayson started. Picks up Matzo all the way in the back, who was running away right before. They're going to be operating as duo as well. Lots of trios losing their leaders, the clutchers of the trio, and have to operate just as two members looking to build that chemistry and try to just stay in the lead. Chulex, Squeezy, and Jerky, though, they're alive sky high, waiting to see who is going to be the first one to rise to challenge them. Big shots over by Reason. He takes out Janice and another two. Still moving forward. Vino is alive at the same time. 4ZR is taken down in the feed. They're going lower, lower, and lower, cutting off a majority of players. But once again, just like Tayson, Reason bites off a little more than he can chew in the face of two players. He gets knocked out.
There's only one strong trio in this lobby, and that is Queasy Trio, the defending FNCS champion, who already let one slip away. But Andalix here is deep into the storm. Talk about some heals popping off right here. He may be able to sneak up to height, and if this happens again to Trulix, runs out of time. It's been clocked. Chassis, Andy, Sean VP. We've seen Andy put on the highlight. We've seen Queasy on trio be on the wrong side of the highlight. This cannot happen again. It's a 3v3, high versus low.
We'll see if the Reboot Warriors can win another game. Can Trulex, Jerky, and Queasy hold on and actually secure something when they have a lead? Kind of running out of mats. They have self-control. It's just beams from both sides. Everyone's abiding their time. 26 seconds left on the zone too, so the worst thing possible is what's happening right now. Jerky taking 3 storm damage, down to 11 HP, can only really survive 2 more seconds in the storm. Look at the health of this team down below. They can actually just stall this all out. Every mistake Jerky makes, all these builds in front of him, they can actually prove to be disastrous. They have to really farm out now. They have to get ahead of the zone. 6 seconds still left.
No!
Jerky, he takes another take. He's down.
No!
2v3 now. Height at a slight disadvantage. Chashi, though, he goes down in the feed. Andy, he's going to go all the way back. Looks like he has a little bit of heals to work with in this game. Another member down. Andy, last alive. Nice. The siphon on a Chulex. That might be enough. The Reboot boys, have they done it again? Queasy's healing. Andy finds him. One pump in a dream, but it's not there. Snap back to reality. It's Queasy, Chulex, and Jerky for the win.
Oops. There goes the gravity out the door. Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky just survived that one. It was almost close to being on the wrong side of another clip. The reboot round, it just shows you how vast, how deep the EU region. You could come from the reboot rounds and go toe-to-toe against the defending FNCS champion.
Yeah, and those defending FNCS champions, tricky game. Usually we watch these guys drop it down, really go all throughout. But when the zone bounces back like that, it's difficult.
I was sweating bullets, man. I was just like, oh, not again, not again. But yo, Zeke, Reese, and 11 will have more for us to break down and show us what's on the leaderboard.
Thank you guys so much. My goodness, Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, your defending champions, find themselves a victory royale. 11. It's only with 5 eliminations, though. We watched in that game, Andalex, 4ZR, Squeeze. They were eliminated there with 12 eliminations. Tayson, Vino, Reason by himself had like 7, bro. Now, this is still a big win for Trulex's trio, but is it enough?
I just want to say finally. Like, finally they get the win, right? Like, I kid you not, I was so like certain in my heart that they were going to choke it again. I thought, yeah, Andy's going to hit the shot, it's over, it's going to be 2 chokes, but they were able to win it, and good. That's going to be a big morale booster, because as much as they had that shocking game, they have fought back, and they have been still deep into these games and making plays for height. It hasn't seemed to have affected them negatively, and now getting this Vic Roy is going to be really good moving forward. But in terms of, you know, not having enough eliminations, it is one of those things, right? You just have to take the win at the end of the day, and I'm sure they'll be going into the next game trying to figure out ways where they can be a bit more aggressive on height so they can get the limbs they need.
Well, their playstyle is to get those wins as well. Last season, when they took height, they had an 80% chance at winning. So that's incredible, right? Out of those games, to take 80% chance. This season so far, that game-winning play there in particular was actually Jerky. You know, we saw him super low. We were watching, like, where's he going to go? And the fact that he intentionally knocked himself to Storm and didn't give that siphon was the play that made them win. Because if you notice, Ziandi ended up picking up the finish under Trulex, which gave him that 50 more HP, and then allowed them to out-heal, because obviously Queasy had, I'm doing it sounds like, you know, Rain Man mental arithmetic at this point, but Queasy had 23 HP, so you could take 3 more ticks to the Storm. So you'll go all the way back. If Ziandi manages to get the finish on Jerky, which he didn't able to, he'd be able to win the heal off. But he didn't, because Jerky ended up knocking himself to the Storm.
There you go. The Rain Man mathematics, as one would argue, Reese just said. Guys, let's keep this conversation going about Tayson, Reason, and Vino. They are absolutely slaying out here. And again, they may not be getting victorials, but they are dealing damage to the leaderboard.
Yeah, well, coming into this game, they were sort of the #1 team on the day thus far, right? In terms of how many points acquired, and they probably still are after that game, right? You talked about how crazy the amount of eliminations they had are. And look, they came into this as a favorite. Sancho even picked them, right, to win the whole competition. And they definitely have shown over the course of the season that they are one of the best teams, but it just wasn't materializing, right, Reese? But finally finding a bit of form.
I can confirm they are still first on the day by 20 points. Obviously, this is a cumulative leaderboard, however, but there's some stats that we want to look at, that we want to highlight from this team so far, right? Want to look at their eliminations, their placement, their solo impact, right? This is all kind of split across each individual player and how it works out. For Tayson in particular, right? He has 17, well, he had before this. He's now got 21 eliminations. So he's the guy in the trio who's got the most elims. He's the one who's fragging out the most. Each of them has their own roles. Reason has the most placement points as well in terms of 11. And then Vino has the highest solo impact, meaning 33 points. So all of them are playing in their own little world, it would seem right now, right? They all have their role. They're all playing this absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to individual ability, you know, this is a trio that is almost unfairly stacked, right? When you look at how good each of them are as individuals, and it's coming to fruition now. You can see their performances so far today has pushed them into second place. And guys, you know, ladies and gentlemen, please, you know, we got to get ourselves ready, right? Because if this is going to keep on playing out like this, Tayson might be on the verge of picking up a 4th FNCS. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it. Just ignore I said that. But if they continue like this, number 4 might be coming.
The 4 time
might be coming.
It could be indeed. And on EU, like, that is outstanding.
Goodness.
If it does that, go to 100%. I mean, most people say it, but 100% confirmed.
Dude, I don't know. Stompy's still holding down first. We'll have to see, though. We have a handful of games left, exactly 4, and we will know who our trio's champion is. But you've heard the battle bus beep beep. We're going to jump back into all the action. So Sancho was Shy Wager. Take it away.
Oh boy, we are definitely going to do our best to take it away. Shy and I were talking during the break. It's a marathon, y'all. We're still in it. We're still in this one. We still have like at least 3 more games. We're going into game 9 here. And hey, if we are feeling it, no doubt the players are feeling it too, Shayo.
Yeah, I was about to say this game should be the test for a majority of players right now when it comes to the way this entire, you know, competition is structured out. 8 games on the day. This might be the one where people start to make a few mistakes, and then that lower portion of the board tries to come up for the lead.
Hey, when you're tired, you know, you haven't had your full energy, you just get a little bit wild with it. You make some desperate plays, and right now, Tayson, Reason, and Vino, they already showed it. They already showed it to y'all. But if y'all need to understand, we're gonna highlight it, bold, underline it, italic, whatever you want to do. They're on one. They're here. They're moving up the board. They're the leaders in day 2, and they just keep up the pace. I think this could be an opportunity to definitely get that. I'm not jinxing anything. I'm not saying anything, but this is it. It's on the line here. 3 more games to go.
Yeah, 3 more games, and patterns are the same all across the map. Egram still fighting with Zebra. It's looking to be a little bit in Rito row, so not sure exactly what Egram's doing all the way over there. If it's a different fight, people are switching up spots now for the final 3 games. Tayson, look at that. They jump in, loot, and get out record time. The game just started, and they're looking for rotations.
It's just showing you how much the Storm Surge plans has been affected by everyone rotating out a lot earlier. These cars and vehicles now had to be in with the chunker tires. You can move a lot faster, and now Malibuka is going to put a pause in Dreda, and Dreda gets eliminated here. But we have so many times watching this Lazy Lake engagement, but it looks like it's just been like a standstill so far. A lot of disengaging, landing on the north side, being able just to loot a couple buildings, and they're out.
I think both teams understand now, if they disengage, look for a few tags, and then move out, if there's something big that happens, they can go for the elim, that's good. But staying here the entire time trying to fight, it's worse for both of them. So they might have more, or I guess less loot entirely. They will still get the damage. I mean, Nebs is working great when they rotate. When it goes to ZQ, they're actually making endgames now, so it's nice both ways.
It's just the whole entire time in the last game, it felt like all the third-party people get taken out. But Refsguard with the flank using the steamy stack says, surprise, Malibuka, I got backup for you, Savage there. And that is what I love about steamy stacks. It's just a variety of different flanks here. Malibuka still gliding here, trying to find the ground, just some images here, just avoid the beams from Savage. But nice work there from Refsguard and Savage working together.
It feels like I'm watching a cinematic campaign or like a spy movie. And Refsguard, you know, the Savage trying to buy the time. They're on the comms, the earpieces, and they're all diving in. Now they actually have to get a little bit more bureaucratic. It's time for, you know, a lot of that covertness to go out. They might have to structure for this box fight, but Savage has nothing in terms of builds. Has to go right back up in the sky on the backside. Refsguard is going to try to support him, but where's Andretta? He got knocked while this was all going down. It's just Savage and Refsguard.
It reminds me, you know, those video game moments. Yeah, you got guys stealth mission. You're like, okay, you try it, you try to be stealthy, and all of a sudden, just chaos breaks out and bullets go everywhere. And you're just like, whatever. I'm going to go full send into this mission, and it ends up being failed. But now it's going to be a moment here for Savage and Refsguard to try to salvage that engagement here. And we're taking a look at other people on the board here who may not be in the running for the top, but this is more about Voidfest, Roki, and Karma. Their day 2 woes is now being at an all-time high with a capital F for feels bad, man.
Now Aryan 2 inside the box gets, you know, pyramided up and then taken out. Void.
Pause the music.
From the bad time or the bad side the entire time. Basically for Aryan there is, you know, mission fill. We'll get him next time. So close to really dealing down the damage. Hydro also affected. Aqua, he's done with the funny business. He wants to get into the money business, looking for a lot of these tags himself, looking to invest inside the damage. They're going to take these mid-game roamers to the works, basically. You really want a mid-game fight? You want to get involved? Have Noah Riley in your box. Let's see how long you last.
I like this. This brings a smile to my face. Understanding that Vidil, Aqua, and Noah Riley found a piece of the missing puzzle. And okay, the fight gets extended out to the outskirts of Lazy Lake here. And now Stompy, I don't know if you have another clutch in that backpack. You're going to have to pull one out here with a great tack here. ZQ, Valkyrie, put the chase down, and now may have an opportunity to send out our #1 early out of game 9.
Yeah, and Lazy Lake, it's more of an actual boxing ring right now, a backyard brawl. Stompy looking for a sucker punch, but these builds are way too strong. Regulation wins at the end of the day. ZQ and Kha'Zix, they survive. First place paused again?
Yeah. Paused again, but who is now on full play to their old hits. It is Janice Chapix in hand, making that rotation finally into the formerly known as Stealthy Stronghold. This is what I've been waiting for this entire time. I've been waiting, calling out day 1. When are they going to execute this strategy? And I'm thinking it's because that Wings Trio is no longer going here. This Doko coming from Coral Castle is rotating through. I do think maybe Wings is those pink arrows there, but I like what I've seen. If they could get this done, that could be that Storm Surge enough for them to give them that mobility and freedom that they enjoy when it comes to those mid to in-game rotations.
That's been tough for this trio the entire day. We'll be actually battling Janice Chapix in this one too. Kind of overall 24th place. Looking at the game so far, you know, there's been one. The second game they played on the first day where they actually really made it out of the early game, and Dakwa had a lot to say in the end game. They keep getting held back. Artskill is here too. He's going to be stopped. So many different teams. This is just chaos at the start of the game.
It's very chaotic because Artskill, you were landing all the way south, and now you're here back north. You might have migrated too early. It's not your time.
I'm telling you, right? This is the difference. When the last 3 games, people start to do different things. They start to get maybe a little bit exhausted. They go for plan Bs and Cs if As aren't working out. And sometimes that plan B goes straight over the Janice Chapix in hand. That is not what, you know, the strategy usually is for a lot of teams. They don't end up winning out in that angle. Even there, Flecken with a beautiful flank shot only really lands 1 AR tag. Janice responds with equivalent damage. Now the pressure comes in, so a beautiful drop down there back with the same team. And all his teammates. Pressure's still coming in. They have a lot of mass to be able to survive this. They have the siphons from all sides. But remember, Stealthy Stronghold, that back wall, you can't break it. You can't build through it. Chapix Janice literally stuck between a rock and an impenetrable place.
And don't forget, Doku, who's a great solo impact, is not going to go down easy. This man has about 9 different chances when it comes to lobby. He is the cat of the finals. And now we're looking at Asterios on the top right, making the rotation. This is another zone that we've been seeing throughout the finals here. And that means this is it. This is Tastin's time. We had a lot of home zones in day 1 for the Believer Beach trio, and they did not cash in at all. Reese talked about it in game 1. They went to the south side of Pleasant Park, and they got easily eliminated because of Storm Surge, but we've seen them how aggressive they are. I think this is it. This is their time. They can move up and get first place.
They've moved out of home, though. They might have the best zone possible for their POI, but they're not even booting it. It looks like they're somewhere all below those orange arrows at Weeping Woods, maybe looking for some engagements. Meanwhile, there's a random orange arrow all the way towards the top near Stealthy Stronghold, wondering what's happening over there. Flecken, Gumu, and Dako, they're expending all their ammunition trying to get these guys just absolutely fumigated outside of the low ground. I think that was a launchpad attempt or something from the side of the Guild Gamma boys. It's not going to be there at all. Looking for the shots. Anyone towards this side, nothing. And now Janus is actually broken down from the back. He gets shot down. Falcon Chapek's looking for the chance to actually bring this all back. He goes for the big pump onto Flecken and lands it. Gumu on the back, big shot, but it's not going to land. He clutches up for the team, a 1v1 all the way down there. The Guild Falcon trio gets taken down.
Not just any trio, a champion quality trio, gone, eliminated in the early game. Their rise slows down, but Flecken is one of those trios here in the finals. Has not been an easy out. Every time they get pushed by the wing trio coming over into Coral Castle, they survive. And talk about a great survival right then and there. As now we go into the other side of the island. Elocrast, Holly, Tripper, can they hold on? Third place right now, and already they've been in scrums with Indretta here along these rotations. What's going to be their plan here for game 9?
I feel like they have a lot more freedom in this game. That top left side of the map fighting for so long in Storm, Tayson leaving Believer Beach and going south. They can basically claim anything they want on this north side, and in 2 minutes we'll see if the north side actually matters this game, or if it goes back down towards Slurpee again. This is going to be a free game, it feels like, for Tripper and Hottie Euroclass, where before it seemed like they were always trying to play catch up.
And I'm not gonna notice as well in the previous game, a lot of those third-party instigators were felt with a lot of force. You know, a lot of people were saying, "Hey, wait a minute, dun 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 it."
Nah, he's not gonna actually land it.
Nah, he ain't gonna take it. Oh, it's wait a minute. I saw it too. Savage goes down. Chassis right then and there. That's going to be a huge development that we're going to see if we get our eyes on, because there's another development here that's happening. Benji, Joe, and Shadow are going against Tripper here, third place, and now we're taking a look, fourth place maybe in shambles here, but this is going to be an engagement that Shadow and Joe and Benji want, and they're going to take the fight here. I don't know, they know that Tripper's chilling in this bush, and if Tripper just moves any more out to left and right side, and I think it's just a little too scary for Shadow, as we like to say in the Latin community, the cuckoo's in the bushes, so he got a little scared and he ran away.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for these guys to kind of find out and try to get any shots when they can't actually see where Tripper and the majority of the trio is. As they move across.
I was gonna say, can you imagine the comments? No, it's not worth it. No, not worth it. Let's get out of it. Let's get out of here. Wow, man, I just can't believe that they were just weren't too confident in that fight. Moments happening here. Mappy is going ahead and just get away from Red Rush. And Stereo's here. The kind of is like interesting split. I've seen this split on NA West, where the Arkham's trio, one person hides in the bush while the other is based up in two duos. So they got these nice angles, these crossfire that may be happening. Mappy, Stereos, and Red Rush, one elimination, but looking at their point total, that is for day 2, 90 points, pretty solid, pretty decent.
You can see the different levels of engagement too kind of change between all trios. We started off the entire tournament in the finals, right, Sancho? It was like a lot of box fights, a lot of close and personal things. There was about 2 sniper elims every single game. That last game we just had 10. Right? Tayson doesn't have the option in his inventory right now. But from what we've been watching, game 7 actually, there were 10. It's just insane the way things are changing from the start of the tournament all the way up to now. People actually going for different strategies, mountain zones becoming a thing, over peaking a little bit. It seems like people are kind of getting a little bit sloppier, making mistakes.
Reese pointed out that the last time that Tayson and Vino and Reason, they were going to these storm surge spots, they were occupied. You took a from the front carpet side. So now, look, they make those adjustments. They're in a new kind of spot. Normally, they would be around the south side of the Pleasant Park, as I mentioned here, where they had their game 1 woes. But I like this adjustment here. They're going a little bit closer to the aftermath. Look at all the different arrows they have eyes on. And hey, if they could get themselves even more and more over Storm Surge, they're going to have those opportunities, like I mentioned. You got Cammy Sayatika out in the distance. You have another trio that's sitting on top with the Bony Burbs here. But I'm liking what Vino and Reason and Tayson are doing here for day 2 Storm Surge plans.
It's very good. It's very 360 degrees. Aqua of a deal.
Not surprised there.
They have their same kind of plan too. Just having the highest base possible waiting for other people to peek over, and then getting their tags. But we've seen it throughout the whole day. Vidil, Noah Riley getting tagged down over and over again by sniper shots, getting overtaken as well when that tag happens. So you see the split now. It's Vidil and Aqua all the way on height, looking out of their base. Noah Riley making sure he's kind of like the janitor down below. Everything is operating smoothly, and there's no trio sneaking up on them.
It was game 2 that last time we saw a zone like this, but it was Vidil, Aqua, and Noah Riley. They didn't take advantage, Shio, because they kind of overextended themselves too far south. They got caught out there trying to get Storm Surge tags. They took a box fight, and they got eliminated early, way before this juncture. So this is something that's going to be different for them here in the finals. This is another prime chance for them to get some big points on the board, because taking a look at them, they were in the top 3, and now they're slowly sliding down. They went down to 8, and they're still holding on to that 8th place. So now we're getting into this big advantage there. They have height. Save It is here, and I know Kiriachi's south because he just rotated in, so all those southern teams are on their storm lines, and of course now we go to the northern teams. Again, they're kind of extended here. I always say this in Fortnite: if you let somebody go, most likely they will eliminate you. It always happens. It doesn't matter pubs, arena, it doesn't matter even in Team Rumble. If you let someone go, they're going to find you eventually, so that may be haunting to let that disengage happen from Benji's trio.
Sometimes it's a good idea not to fight, and it's not like they let them go for free. We saw Tripper take a shot at the inflatable. We see right now Hottie still dealing damage on the car. So you know that these guys are trying to stay. They have a little bit of aggression still in them. They're not to be messed with for free.
All I'm saying is, I warned you. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I warned you. I'm
Watch.
gonna put it out there. We're gonna watch the feed. I'm telling you.
It's
You
not
let someone
to
go
for a fight at this
I
position.
know.
It'll be
I agree.
tough for
I
either
totally
to make
agree.
it out. But we'll see if Karma is in the wave. There's always a little bit of feeling
Not the
that comes
player,
through too.
not the player. The overarching
the
karma. Yeah,
overall-
not the player.
Overarching, yeah. The
Yeah.
mystical side of Karma. So Tripper getting picked up, Hottie as well. Chonka tires in tow. Big thing about the zone is, yeah, really pulling in towards the center. Will be a squeeze all the way around the entire way, and height will be very tricky because it could be a mountain in the way, could be Riverside. No one knows yet. A lot of the time, the prep for how the zone looks is done right now by a lot of these teams. With that still being a mystery, what type of endgame will this really be? Having a high base right now might not be the wave. Overbuilding right now might not be the wave. No one knows exactly what to do yet.
And Alex likes to be in that position that you see him on the right side to look for Storm Surge tag. He uses that mountain backside to protect him here, but that position may cost him considering now there's more people that are sitting there. All of these southern teams are not quite in yet. You can see a couple of dead side rotations happening here. Chiachi's sending those beams towards that way of Red Rush, mapping his Stereos. So far, no connections.
Now let's talk about Kiriachi for a second right now too. These guys used to be, with Susa Stormy right, in this tournament, the first place holders for multiple games. From day 1 to day 2, they've fallen down to 5th place now overall, right? Even Vidil Rally Aqua, 3rd overall, now down to 8th. This is going to be a redemption game, not for Vidil Rally or Aqua. They get taken down in the feed. Maybe if it's possible for the analysts to have a replay of that. I mean, they had the prime time position. They had everything going for them. Noah Riley, I was talking about it, working janitorial duties, making sure no more sneaks up, but I guess it might have been, I don't know, it couldn't have been Surge. Something happened and they went down in the game where they were supposed to come back.
You're seeing what happens, man, when social media barbs go back and forth. A lot of trash talk was happening against Default, and Default now shows up, and he kind of talks the talk in-game. They kind of snuck up on him. You're holding down. That's a problem. You're holding on a tower spot. All of a sudden, it's just one angle, because there's 360 degrees that you have to cover. It just takes one angle, and all of a sudden, you get taken out here. It's a very tough. I'm trying to see the remnants of the fight here, but hey, bottom line, no matter what happened, we'll maybe catch a replay, but Patrick Safi and Default take out a big, again, a home advantage for them, like you said, does not catch it.
They land that Pony Burbs that is literally the center point of this mini-map right now. And they were so close to first place. Now they'll be outside of the top 10 after this game. That is insane to think about. Meanwhile, other teams, opposite plans, Queasy, Jerky, Trulex, saying low to the ground, still utilizing bushes, saving their mats, looking like they might go for another high ground take again. Who do they have to deal with though, Sancho? It's going to be the likes of Malabuka possibly going all the way towards height. Kiriachi's still here. He loves to do it. Aqua's not going to be there, beside him to stop him right now. Looking at the board as well, Tayson, Vino, Reason. You saw how ecstatic they were in qual week number 1, and at the same time, all the games today, the battle for height as well. That will be there in this type of zone when we're looking at just Boney, natural low ground. Height really dictates these games.
And someone here that's making an appearance is Floki Clement Deceptos. They haven't been here much in the in-game, but when they do, they put in some points on the board as Matzo gets an elimination on Save It here. As we're going to see, the storm surge sound has been alerted. We have Andelix sitting on top of this scrum here, and Queasy Trulix, that's what they love to do. As you saw, they were shooting up in towards the top sides, trying to look for a trip up there. Curiosity and Tucson Storm and right, who are sitting on top of the board, hopefully trying to avoid that trip up. Right now, they're in 5th place here. They're sitting down beams, putting on the pressure on Reason. The defensive blueprint's out. Reason gets shield cracked, but you can't be a little too greedy, and Tuce gets shield cracked as well.
After this point, they can't make a single mistake, and there is another from the backside. Edited down is one of the teammates, so it might just be Tuce and Kuriachi left over in this box. Stormywright is in a world of trouble, and not even in the same box. Somehow is able to survive somewhere. I don't even see him on the screen. There he is, finally. He let everyone roll over him, hit inside the pyramid, popping that med kit. Zone finally locks in. They get it. They're on that side a little bit. They'll have a little bit more time to just wait and breathe. But man, things are so claustrophobic. There's like 10 trios beside their box.
I gotta say, what's happening right now is the reason why Kuriachi's so below Storm is simply because of that rotation. He didn't find and save it here. Floki de Santos and Complaint, this is why they're being aggressive as much as possible. You saw them push into that fight because it is Storm Surge affected them. Benji, Shadow, and Joe have been eliminated. They're gone. They had an opportunity. They were trying to get polished up for day 2, trying to look clean up, but no, doesn't work out for them, as now we have a new trio on hiatus, Trixie, Tenson, and Jaggy, but that's just a temporary hold because we all know with Queasy in the lobby, they're gonna be able to take that. But on the low ground, it's Falcon, Tasted, and Reason. They are climbing up the board and trying to find higher heights here on that board.
If they stay on low ground, the biggest trio to deal with, we just saw them on screen, will be Floki, Clement, Disiptos. Reese called it earlier as well. They've gained the most points throughout the day, at least in terms of when we had 3 or 4 games played. Now with a few more, this is another zone they get to play, another endgame they get to appear in. Will they survive the likes of Tayson? Will Tayson even go for height? I mean, those questions aren't even going to be asked yet. They still have to get into this 5th zone. The rest of the north lobby side has to also come in. Everyone seems like they're reserving everything for this end game. There are no high bases. It's just like people in bungalows on the ground.
Kemi Sedetik will be another low ground team that this team has to watch out for. And reminder, Han, Janice, and Chapix, a low ground team that's been operating very well or have been eliminated very, very early out there in Stealthy Stronghold. So now we're seeing there's so many bases, there's so many catacombs. I don't even see a patch of grass almost here in the center of the zone here as we're about to get to the first moving. And there's so many people kind of spread right down the middle that there's going to have still easy rotations. That means we're going to have a very chaotic end game here on our hands.
Well, it depends on how many pads actually get placed down and who takes them. We go over all the way to Newland towards the west side. Audi Trip and Elocrats, no strangers to really taking height in that 7th zone, but it's also the same game plan as Tayson, the same game plan as Queasy, as Murstache, who's also alive. Jaggy actually gives up height to move across. No one has a high ground base. No one's controlling things. This is Aqua's old base. Everyone's just kind of waiting to see who makes the first move.
And we are all waiting right now for the time for the rise of Tayson, Vino, and Reason. Just sitting here, they're not see the pad, they take it, they fly up there, it's Bayon, and then no! Tayson gets tagged hard, he's down to 17 HP. He's gonna try to glide to maybe he can take a moment to breathe, but he doesn't. It's Vino right there, at least is giving a supply him a flopper if he doesn't pick them up. The good thing is that he did go down early here, so there is some time. He does have minis to at least pick up one of the most impactful players in the FNCS with 21 eliminations, is back on his feet, and this trio is trying to survive.
They got towards the front side, had time to stabilize. Reason, Tayson, Vino now have to make sure that all teammates are at full HP. They are, and they find a good side of this zone. They're not used to being this far behind, breaking into the box, 3v3, looking for the next shot. Could it be free? No. Has to cost them a little bit in terms of positioning. They have to go up even more. They have a little bit of ass to work with. One person all the way in, it's Vino by himself. Tayson going all the way in as well to try to help Reason. Goes through the backside. Vino in trouble. He is down. Tayson also just 10 HP, all up to Reason, 26 damage below Surge. He has to fight off 15 other teams and the server that keeps hopes alive in this game. All the way towards the backside, Kuriachi might be his target of choice. Wooden wall, that's perfect for him to drop in with. A nice shot and dodge towards the right. Big damage as well. They get ahead of Surge and a free launch pad. This is everything Reason could want.
Reason has been doing this the entire day, getting placements as a solo, and now he's combining it with some eliminations. He took out Kuriachi there with a big blast, and now Reason's on the low ground with a couple of builds to protect himself. These are big moments here because placement points are coming on through, and Reason now, he's out. in a blink of an eye. And look at up who's at high, really, really high. It's Sapphic 6 Trio. You're gonna have to move down a little bit, my friend. You're too high for my liking.
Low ground still getting churned. Jaggy trying to get his first shot off on a Deuce. Deuce defensive back towards the pyramid. Two people in the same box though. It gets awkward. He wants to be comfortable, but there's no chance for him to be on feathered footing. He gets taken out. Putric, Sapphic, Default, putting so much pressure up top, forcing every single trio into the boxes down below. Clement, Floki, Deciptos, they've made it this far, still alive. Their classic style today is just try to be consistent, make these end games, and then operate as a three-man firing squad. And there goes Koro, forced up a certain layer. They might not get the Elin, but they've done the damage. Clement still moving forward on the backside. This bounce back is going to give them so much time to work with. Cammy popping off in the feed. They take out Jaggy. They finish the job that Clement, Floki, Deciptos started. They're still beaming down these boxes. Another two-man spread from Clement and Floki. Deciptos jumps in, goes towards the backside to actually make that base and claim some home in this zone. They're up against Seti, Cammy, Teak now. It's a big 3v3 on low, but Ban's there too. Deciptos down. This is trouble. It's just a two-man operation now.
Two-man operation, and they're operating on fumes right now. The gas is on E as they're making it through. Cammy, Set, and Teak, a full trio looking strong. You have Clement on the front side, Diablo Bayan on the right next to them as Clement is now here. He's going to hold on with Floki. Clement, Floki on the low ground using the chug cannon. There is Diablo Bayan. It's a double battle here. Two duos on the pass going colliding here. Clement, Floki now crashing through. You're looking at the feed right now. Sapphic and Default pick up Diablo and Bayan. So now Clement and Floki have some moments here to themselves here on the low ground, but it's the full trio. Cammy, Seti, Teak colliding on through, and it is Default trio racking in the victory royale with 7 eliminations. Yes!
That's high ground, just textbook pressure from start to finish. Everyone waiting too long to do anything in that game, and it was too much for every other trio to stay alive. Jason tried. We had Sapphic, just drop down the pressure. We had so much stuff go down below. Seti, Cammy, Teak almost alive till the end of the zone. Just a good game overall from the CL-centric boys.
No doubt there, the 12th place team getting a crucial victory royale here as we're getting into that marathon. We're feeling the marathon there. We're getting to the end, and I just got to say, right, a lot of the names, they're kind of felt that. Like I mentioned, they ran out of gas. I mean, you saw right there, Reasons trio going down. You had Vidil going down, Hen and Janice going down. Child, there's so many people going down, and they just need a replenishment. They got a pit stop, refuel,
Hopefully, Teak with very good box dive in. I want to see what else we missed. What other dives? Zeke, Levin, and Reese, they have everything on that for this last game.
Thank you guys so much. I mean, you know what, Levin, Reese, I feel like the casters have kind of set this perfectly for us, right? This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And right now, I feel like the way that these trios operated their last game is Shy was actually exactly right. They waited too long to do anything, right? They waited to that last moment, and in that moment, chaos was created. For Sapphic, Default, and Putrick, they waited. They're like, okay, all we have to do is hold this high ground. I mean, look at that. They had 40 builds left. They
see, and not the usual clean fight that we're used to seeing. You see from Kumu, who's absolutely basically just popped off at the end as well, managing to clean up this and definitely secure them some points here. But usually this kind of fight is something you'd see would be quick, fast. They sneak in and they have no clue what's happening. But from Kumu's team, because they ended up winning out, beautiful for them.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And as you can see, I don't want to say it's happening, but it looks like it's happening. Look, there's 1 point in it at the top, right? Tayson, Vino, and Reason lead by just 1 point at the moment. But boy, am I not, I'm not too sure what's going to happen. It looks like the fourth time might be possible. But look, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's take a look at that next page, right? Because obviously just got, plenty of competitors still, and we're getting later and later in. And Alex Onyx squeeze sitting here in 11th. And on the day, I believe they've been one of the best teams on the day. I think they, if you're just looking at today's leaderboard, had a really bad day one, but they are trying to pull it back now, and that climb is still happening. There are still a couple games left, right? So there's a chance to do that.
I mean, that's kind of classic from them. We saw the exact same thing last season, where I'm pretty sure they were somewhere around like 20th after day one, and then they ended up being top 10. So they had a huge comeback day two. So maybe Andalex's team, day two heroes from now on. And we could see them continue to fly up the leaderboard throughout the next couple games that we've got left.
Yeah, look, it's almost similar to how they did in the qualifiers, where qualifier 2, they come out, don't look good. Qualifier 3, they come out the best performance we've seen in the qualifier all season. So day 2 is clearly a great day for them.
Guys, this is crazy. I mean, if Tayson keeps this up, he could be the 4-time champion just by himself, right? This is Rex, Arkram, Epic Will from NA West vibes that we're giving off right now, but we only have 3 games left, so we'll have to see. I know, exactly. On to you. We'll have to see how this all unfolds, but for now, we're jumping back on the battle bus. Let's get into the next game of the FNCS.
Game 10. Here we go. We got 3 more left, and only 1 point separates first and second place. And what's on the line for Tayson, Vino, and Reason is a 4-time FNCS championship and new FNCS champions when it comes to Vino and Reason. That is what's happening. And you could really credit to that to Pink Nebs and Stomp Me slowly sliding down thanks to ZQ's Trio's pressure here. Taking building Shio. Game 10, man. Everything is on the line.
3 games. It takes 3 active games to change your fate inside the FNCS from 10th all the way to 1st if they're good enough. And now we're in those final 3, the 10, 11, and 12s of the 2 days. This is where things get really exciting. And yeah, you're talking about Nev, Stompy, Pink. Think about it this way, right? 9 games they've played so far, contested, and they're in 2nd place by 1 point.
Impressive.
We were talking about, Hengenis Chapix being 6th overall last season and, kind of middling throughout the day in 5th, in 10th. These guys have held leads, fighting off spawn every single game. If that's not a statement, I don't know what is.
And this is right here. Look at this. They have gas in the tank right now, trying to dip into the last minute reserves here. And this is what's the difference, though. Hengenis and Chapix, they fought, they stayed, they wanted it all against High Crescent's trio. They never really disengaged. But Neb, Stompy, and Pink going to go ahead and disengage, get back to the gas station. Talk about it, that refuel that you're going to see right here. This is not going to be a great spot to find some as money's materials as they would have Lazy Lake, of course, but you guys get what you got to take what you can get, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be a really weird take today for a lot of teams because these next 2 games we're playing are, of course, the added on games from the missed out ones yesterday. So a lot of the players right now are on their game 7s and game 8s, stuff we don't usually see for players in a series. They have third-party experiences a little bit, with playing 8-game formats, sometimes 10-game formats. He's gotten a little bit weird throughout the years, but now at this caliber of competition, at the top, fighting for that $300,000 prize all the way there for, a nice $100K each trio member. I mean, this is different with stakes. This is also a lobby. You don't want to mess with every POI stacked. People fighting off spawn over and over, mid-game being different every game. Sometimes the mountain's in the way. So it's going to be really different in terms of a vibe for Tayson to hold on. That was kind of scary, but it's all good. I was like, wait a minute, there's no name tag. There's no way.
You're there.
Talk about it this time, right? Sancho is really different. Before, they moved out of Believer Beach so fast when they have zone. This time, taking their time entirely at the pier, the hotel, make sure the whole POI is looted. They know once they start to move, lots of teams will be beside them. They can get easy shots when they're outside the zone.
And if this is your first time watching the FNCS broadcast, welcome. You're catching us on a hot one. But this is what happens here. When we start getting into the later stages of the game, we focus on the top of the board. You're going to see eliminations happen in the feed, but don't you fret. If a big eliminations happen, we will let the ops know and we'll try to get there as fast as possible. But for now, this is what's going to happen. We're going to sit here, watch how people are looting, watch how people are making adjustments, because literally every single thing in these early games, even though it's just looting and matching, matters the most. And now you're seeing Deceptos, Clement, and Floki. They made those adjustments. They moved from 7th to 8th place, and they skyrocket to 3rd place with that previous game.
And you're talking about, single-digit place here or there. That taste is cool. What Stompy's doing is also pretty sick with the clutches. Floki, Clement, Deceptos, though, you're right to talk about him. Not even on that first space to start the day. This has been a really impressive day for these guys overall. Really feeling themselves. Is that Savage just watched on go in the feed too?
Yep.
Press guard and Jordan deleted again. Second place these guys are holding on to, now down to 7th. And now after this game going to the final 2, it might be even lower. I mean, the boards are still changing the whole way through. Floki's moving up. Centric Hottie, Elo Crash Stripper, and they're moving up too. Sapphic now 6 places higher than he was before. I mean, people have to get replaced.
And the adjustments, the early moments, Malibu, no doubt, they had to stand still. Savage tried to disengage. We saw that as well up there for Pinkster. They disengage. Last time they had a lot of gas, but just not enough. You go right into that North Cami split that's happening here. And now we're just going to keep a look here. Let's see. That was 7th place getting eliminated. Now we have Hottie, Elocrest, and Tripper here in 4th place. But I'm surprised here. We saw, just to talk about Floki, Clement, and Deceptos, they've done this plenty of times. So just out of nowhere, they pop off and they sneak in. And this time, they're sneaking in and they're adding zeros to the price pool at the same time.
That's huge. They're going to be operating on the sneaky side. For this trio on screen, the title is aggression. Moving forward, the first people to third party sometimes on the entire map. In Endgame, they're the first to try to go for that retake, or the second to push all the way for height. They really want to take things by their own hands. They're playing a very different, almost opposite beat of Floki, Clement, Deceptos, but are also having very similar ways of success. So right now, both these teams, 3rd and 4th place, are looking to get even higher, looking to get into new territory of 1st and 2nd. For Kuriachi on the bottom right of your screen, well, it's a very good zone to play with. It's all the way towards the south. They want to get back into form. They were holding first for what, 3-4 games, Sancho? And now they're all the way in 5th. They've fallen off a little bit. They're still making end games every now and then, but not really solidifying super top 10s. They're just out of a 10th place with 3 elims right now. It's been north and central zones for them. Every time we see it go towards Sludgy Swamp, though, towards Misty, towards Caddy, that's where they start to really perform. It's kind of at their home. They know all the kind of nuances of the zone. So we'll see what they have to do in this game. They should be getting a lot of points.
On the top right of your screen, you see Patrick Default and Sapphic. There are previous Victor Royale winners coming from Dirty Docks. They're going to make a move. Kuriachi there, I thought he was going to hold on to that Hotfish. That was a key component last season for Kuriachi. But one of the components for this game set that I'm watching here is last time they pushed Save It. And I wonder if they were trying to look for Save It last time and they were unable to find them. That's what caused them to late rotate into Boney Burbs in game. And that ultimately cost them because they went down very early here. But Patrick Default and Sapphic coming out of Dirty Docks, trying to take a page out of Thomas HD's Trio's playbook.
Hey, they're coming out of a Victory Royale universe as well. Just won that last game overall, 7 eliminations. Looking really good in the way they operate as well. I mean, every time we watch a team get a win, their next game not too hot, that Clay effect coming in. But it looks like with the way these guys structure their games, we saw this. I think it was either semifinals or the qual weeks, maybe even both. When it comes to their approach to the game, it's very consistent, more consistent than any other trio, to the point where they have height. Just let the game end, Sancho. They just want that placement. They don't even go for more. They don't risk stuff. So in this early game, they might be the only trio with this playstyle to get a win, and then the next game actually have a shot at getting another. That's lethal towards these last 3 games.
Now we're going to Chapix, Hit, and Janice. There's only 3 games left. And the $1 million prize pool is all on the line that will be distributed. The lion's share wins $300,000. Janice, Hit, and Chapix have tasted the glory, have held the Axe of Champions back in Chapter 2, Season 5, and they're trying to make their way back to reclaim the throne.
hey, maybe I need to call up Chris and tell them to start contesting again, because last season they were higher in placement overall, right? They were looking a little bit more spry once winning that fight off of Spawn. This season, that Storm Surge is not guaranteed, so they have to hunt for it in the same way Chapix, Janice, and Hen are right now. And look at this too, FSI bullied by Aqua. Other true to talk about, but on the topic of Hen still, as this fight will easily wrap up, you know, they're literally on the test. This was the season. A lot of people were saying it. Both our analysts have predicted it too. It should be an easy win, uncontested. God Trio, the chemistry on a different level. They should have it in the bag, but they're in 9th right now.
And you're seeing the chemistry just focusing on this engagement from the Dio and Noah Riley. You know, they're taking the page back into the previous season. They're being aggressive. They're being more bucks of fighter E, which is not really a word, but I'm going to throw that in there. So Aqua right now, they usually set up in bases and they send down the beams, but the box fighter-y vibes inside of Noah Riley and Vidil are working out for them, and that's the second box fight we see them taking these last set of games.
Yeah, one more point on Aqua's trio in a second as we go towards Steady, Kemi, and Teeks. It's been a little bit of surprise from these guys. They've kind of lived out towards Endgame. I think they have the best low ground defense out of any team when they're in that 7th to 9th zone. I feel like getting there has been an issue. Kami already right. Taken out on rotation. Maybe it's the zones entirely. Things are not going too well. We haven't had them as a focus during these moments on broadcast, but we'll see what they can do. They're 8th currently right now. Now going back to Aqua, you're talking about box fighters. They're looking really good, right? I think the issue with them, though, is for some reason, they have this bump in their timeline. The 5th zone, the 6th zone. Something happens and a trio takes them out in a matter of 5 seconds. They need to fix that. So they were 2nd place at one point. Now they're down in 10th because game after game, they have really good positioning and then they just get wiped. And we never even get to see how. Sometimes when we do, it's one person getting sniped. Everyone else is taken over by Storm. They cannot make the mistake anymore in these last 3 games.
Mistake cannot happen right now for Pink, Stompy, and Nebs out here in the Defiant Dish. Going to begin Zabre, who have now rotated and changed their drop from Retail Row 2 here. So they may not have a lot of experience here at holding down the fort in comparison to an Ingram, so to speak, who's been landing here the entire season. Stompy, Nebs, and Pink are here, and they would love the taste of that perm pad that's just right then and there. But the firepower is not there. Kind of eating to their builds here. I'm just listening here. You could just hear every step just feels heavier, a little bit more bassier, you know?
Yeah.
Mew almost got the shot there, but the wall quickly goes up. Defensive play, they're in the box situation, trying to break them down the ramp. It gets a little bit nasty here. You got to make sure your aim is true. A couple of misses from Pink. But Pink just able to hold on because he has Nebs next to him. But Zape right there is going to come into this fight. But Stompy's going to come from the backside. But Claim, even though he does not have a lot of HP, he still can put on some damage into this engagement here. Zape goes down. Here comes Psych. Stompy and Pink are going to pick back Nebs, and they get rewarded not only the loot, but also that permanent pad for rotation.
Yeah, kind of like that stat was foreshadowing this fight right before it started. Majority of the teams in the top 5, 4 of them, basically uncontested off spawn. The ones that just fought again have been conditioned since the start to have these pinches, to be aware and active in these fights. Pink, Nebs, Stompy, literally 10 almost games now, having to deal with someone off spawn, having to deal with people mid-game. It's because of this resilience, this conditioning game after game. They're winning these fights so gloriously.
Yeah, that has been their lifeline, them just finding another like scavenger out, a landmark trio, and they take over their loot and they do it with their weapons. So yes, they don't get the loot lake, the Lazy Lake loot, but they rotate, they find a trio. They already found them out there in the Central Mountains. This time they found them out there in the Defiant Dish.
Stomper Elam's also ramping up game after game. Floki might be to blame the one for that, because clearly this strat is just to base up into Thomas HD and just look for any shots all around with that big gun, but nothing landing right now. Everyone kind of just waiting out to see who's going to make the first edit over, the first mistake.
Already the biggest mistakes made is the 17th team, Savage Trio out. So it's the only one in the top 10 that has been eliminated here in this one of the last 3 games that we have here.
Sean VP, Andy out in the distance there behind Tripper, and actually also very impressive team so far. shown us today that they can really handle whatever you throw at them and at least survive longer than expected, and sometimes even win and gain a lot of points. Right towards the end, a little bit of a reboot type fight they were having with, I believe, Easy Chulex all the way on height, but they had that win locked down. Right now, Fast Roki in trouble. Very different day for these guys. On day one, looking so good, controlling, affecting trios back and forth. On day two, kind of the cannon fodder of the whole lobby, being picked apart for Surge game after game after game. Tayson now choosing to dive into these boxes. 500 damage above, actually. They have no reason to get super close and personal. Oh, maybe to help reason is the actual, you know, reason they're pushing in for this fight. I'm trying to find a different word to not double say the name, but
yes,
it literally has to be it. Their first place. Make a fumble like that.
Oh,
and
no.
Now it's a duo. I just need a solo. I mean, the Vino again. This is way too early to go out.
We saw way too early. We saw in the last game, they avoided that kind of engagement. Now Vino, the newly signed star to Falcon here, is going to have the clutch of his life. He starts the clutch with a 95 tag to Booback. That's going to give him the ability just to get away. He is here. He has the mechanical prowess, but the amount of people that are out here in this engagement may be a little too much. Oh my!
Wow.
Way too much as Kylie sees that and bops that out, and that is our first place team going into this match gone.
They were barely even in first. It was a 1 point difference, and yes, I like the fact we go straight to Neb, Stompy, and Pink, starting the entire match off with a cumulative 220 points. It says 122 because that's their points on this day overall. 1 point behind what was Tayson right there. And now all they have to do is just survive the 17th overall or even get an Elam. I see they already have 4. So the advantage was already in their favor. They've taken the lead. They're holding first. We essentially just watched second place go down. And now we'll see how far they can run.
It's so amazing to see Stompy on this run here, the Season X champion. If this ends up being the second FNCS championship, I have to think it is one of the most, two-time championships with like a bookend, that long time in between. The words are escaping me, but it's just feeling like to see someone from an old school era get a championship, a Chapter 1 champion, win one in Chapter 2 from this far away in time. Very impressive.
I'm also impressed with the evolution of this lobby from Game 1 all the way now down to Game 9. A lot of the times, even Neb, Stompy, and Pink, if you're looking at the way they're playing, they would not take this much of a risk-free tarp all the way in. They might try to save things a little bit here or there, get in the zone. All around, actually, everyone is playing so much closer to the chest, fixing all the mistakes in terms of taking damage. Dako now alive all the way to this portion of the game as well. You'll see Noah Riley actually not over-peaking, everyone together. Their base only 2 stories instead of 4 stories higher, because every time they do build a big base, Aqua ends up going down. Here actually Storm Raitus as well. They've kind of had longer bases in the earlier games, and then elected to go for these box bases, 3 squares side by side, to make sure they don't get picked apart or lobby focused. And now Lake in this position, it might be a very good spot to be in.
I like this adjustment. They went back to what was working for them from day one, not trying to take any kind of engagements, not trying to find the Storm Surge box battles and logjam. They made their adjustment. They went back to the old formula, and it's working for them. They're in a great position here to stormhold a lot of people, even Clement and Floki, who are above them on the leaderboard.
And right now, when it comes to early game and transitioning that towards the end game, you just saw that stat on screen. Kuriachi's team is very good at doing it when they have a little bit of a burst to work with. This game, though, they're kind of super quiet, right? We talked about not taking risks. It's going to be good. This team, though, Tripper, I mean, kind of scratched up coming into this point in the game. Hottie's down. This is a team that works very well as a trio. I haven't seen the greatest things when it's only 2 players alive, so I'm kind of worried for them this game. They're all about working as a team with the big pinches on height, with big, spread out control. With only 1 person to work with, you have to stay close and personal. That's not their style.
Saving grace is they do have the reboot card. Lazy Lake's in play. We haven't seen some reboots and moving zones, so it's possible.
Listen, Sancho, if they get a reboot off and survive, I'll buy you dinner for a year. There's no chance.
Let's go. Let's go. Survive to what? Survive to what? Top 5?
I'm just saying, if the reboot happens, they're gone.
Here we go.
There's not even a chance, because there's so many teams already here. That sound is just way too loud. There is no shot a reboot is possible.
I'm invested.
And Elo. They have the reboot card, but gotta remember there's so many other teams too. We gotta check in. I mean, if the reboot happens, we'll hear it, right? And then this happens. Look at this base. I'm not sure. When did they unvault Portaforce? Because they got metal built out on all sides. It's looking good. Stompy wants to take his lead off the edge of the island side of things. Or the river side. They're looking good. Gotta remember with the mini map moving a little bit further too, so it'll be fine. They have the Chug Splash cannon. That's huge for Endgame. 544 damage above. Red Rush is affected down below by Tripper and Elo. We're talking about them getting reboots. They can barely even handle this fight. 303 damage below Surge is what it looks like right now. Getting bullied and Lightning will start to strike. Oh no, Tripper's down. Exterios still looking for the shots. Elo cracks has his walls pre-edited because they were looking for plays. Down to 4 HP. He's going to be forced to heal as Tripper goes down.
Looks like I'm going to go hungry for the year here, but I just had to point out Pink, Stompy, and Co. They have a great positioning. They have the high ground. They did pull zone. So while we're having fun with this mini wager, with Shio wager, I would have to say Elo Crass has plenty of things to outlast this, but 6 people have to go down, and he has a trio on his front doorstep here. But all these people have to move out, but they're deciding to fight. It's because the Storm Surge is kind of being the cement shoes that's locking them into these engagements. You're seeing some slow rotations happening as Elo Crass, the reason why we're focusing in, this is 4th place. They've been in top 3 for a long time, and they're inching their way closer. Chachi, I believe, is right there. No, Elo Crass gets greeted with some lead, and he's out.
Taken down, lots of people still have to move in. Lazy Lake, it's so tough to kind of break out of these boxes, move past these buildings, and find a way to find some space. Aqua, always on height, staying true to his name, takes over Nev, Stompy, and Pink. Against the former teammate right now, both know the strategy books, both know what to do. And another fumble from Aqua's side. Noah Riley caught in these builds, but it's a trap. The deal deals lots of damage. Almost shield crack from 2 players, and Nev's down to just minimal HPs on the same layer now, and Aqua's diving in zone to find an angle for this one. It's getting dirty in this fight. There's no shot. This is happening on high ground, isolated. No other team looking in. There's no full knocks on either side. Aqua trying desperately with Stompy. They get Pink down to 14 HP. They can't find anything. Stompy looking to pick Nebs back up. He has a lot of time still left over. Noah Riley finally ticked out. Nebs kind of,
are you kidding me?
Knocked body, get the siphon. I'm not even sure, but man, what a breakout fight before zones even move.
Oh man, that was amazing to see old teammates go at it right there. It looks like they trade reses here, and they're going to continue on at high. Pink and Stompy say, that's not enough for us. We're going to give that up here. But the shamble situation is way too much as Chapix takes advantage and eliminates their Aqua. Steady and Forziar collide, and Forziar is getting knocked. But Stompy, Pink, and Neps here, there's a Pink and Stompy duo are working way through. Talk about surviving that engagement. Now on the low ground, look. So free, everyone's backside's looking at them, and that's when you want to see when you're in shambles.
Gotta remember, they're in first place right now, rolling through. Unfortunately, no match after that whole engagement. They have to be very careful when they finally build.
Breaking through.
The zone is still so far
Keep
away.
Going.
I think that Pink might have the right idea. They might just need to just spam shots at the walls in front of them. There's no time to pickaxe. Now they're solo moving in. Look at it though on height. Hen, Janice, Chapix taking over. Mistakes erased. They have control and are so far high, I'd be surprised if anyone challenges them for height.
They've made it. They finally made it into the safe zone here, but it cost them so much. Look at that. Only 3 builds, and because they were breaking through everything, you're hearing the raining down, and oh no! It's Floki! Floki is here, and Floki is moving up the board.
3rd place taken out, one of the top teams. They're looking to get even higher in those standings. Chapix, though, he's moving higher in elevation to the skies. There goes Exterios' pad. It's not enough to catch him. Red Rush, no chance either. Swatted out of the sky like a fly. Exterios goes down, and now we're tuning in with Kiriachi. A chance for redemption. Lots of top teams already knocked down and away. All the pressure they've been dealing with every single game is non-existent in this tarp right now. Bullying Astro. Kiriachi in full form. Save it, also feeling it. Oh my goodness, the double spray comes in, and they get another knock, Force taken out. Those are mats you could possibly get. But no, there's no time. They're going to keep moving in the storm on the side of a mountain. They're going to have to make decisions soon. Going up, no one in their way. Red Rush, we know he's a solo. This is a free pickup for the squad. They get another, but there's so much chaos back there. That's not the way to go. The builds are on fire. These guys are way too hot. Moving on low ground, they're making it look easy. No chance, no challenge. They have a chance to get all the way up high in this game.
Wow, and now they're going to hold out. A great knock on that squeeze right there. Kiachi, another shot on Seti. Does he pick up the elimination? No, he's going to walk on through and keep pushing on through while Janice is lighting up the feed. Kirachi does get that knock on that squeeze here, and Splash gets doused right there. Kirachi chooses Storm Rider, picking the right time to heat up there. And look at the high ground. The Season 5 champions here are coming to form at the right time, but we have our eyes here on Kirachi, Storm Rider, and Toos, who are cooking on the low ground as Chopix eliminates Endgame.
They might not have height, they might not have control, but they have so many elims to basically call this game a win. Looking for another. It's a 3v3 fight, low versus height. We'll see exactly what Janice, Chopix, and Hen can do, putting out pressure the entire time. But Kriachi, he's found defense perfectly within the backside of this storm. All in the same box. Toos is looking for it. Beams back up towards the sky. Hen gets affected with HP. Big beams, but they trade. Hen now low. Janice take it out. They move from the low ground. They take the shots. Kriachi looking for the finish on the Chopix. That is absolutely insane for a three-man clutch. Kriachi, Stormer, and Toos. What a well-deserved low ground win.
Another 11 eliminations in Victory Royale, and the highlights are not stopping. We thought we had the highlight of the year. No, another one. Is this a montage? Are we just stuck in a montage? Because it's not stopping, Shio. What a great win for Kiriachi's trio.
Hey, I'll hop aboard the Kiriachi, Stormy, and Toos train. We're going straight over to the last game with them because there's no one who could stop them. A trio in the way, boom, another one, boom, another one. I mean, Zeke, Levin, Reese, how many people did they take down?
Guys, we're looking at 11 eliminations. That's what I can confirm on desk. And really quick, just massive shout out to Shy Wager and Sunchwest. You feel like they're just like casting like a wrestling match. You know what I'm saying? The energy is next level. My goodness, though, imagine if that had gone the way of Hen, Janice, and Chapix, right? We kind of like tend to forget that, especially in situations like this, like two teams at the very end, right? You're talking about a 6-point swing in just eliminations alone. Another 4 points for the difference in second or first, right? So a 10-point swing for both of these trios, and on top of that, tiebreakers, right? My goodness, still though, the action is absolutely heating up, Levin.
Yeah, no, it's getting crazy. It is getting real. Like, I'm watching that game, and we're all watching that game, and we're watching it thinking, Janice and Chapix is a classic win. You know, we all waited for this at some point, but then no, Kiri actually said, no, we're not doing this today. Today is our time. And look, you know, we came into the day and they were the first place team. Things sort of got a bit murky for them. This is their opportunity now to push themselves back into contention to try and win it all. Look, I'm going to be rooting for Janice and Chapix as I will, you know, I'm a guild fan, but I'm looking forward to seeing how Kiri actually continues to build off of this, right? Because that is a huge game for them.
Well, every single team above them didn't make top 15. So all 4 of the teams who were above them at that time did not even get into the big placement points. They hit 2 thresholds, 3 thresholds, basically for placement for at least some of them. So they could be on top based on that. And that final fight really just came down to a 3v3 gun battle. No mats on one team, no mats on the other team as well. And look how it played out. Kiriachi's team hit better shots.
Yeah. That's all this is. That's all it is.
Just hit your shots, kid. Just hit your shots. That's all it takes. Really quickly, I wanted to touch on Alex's trio, a trio we've not seen too much about, but they're still performing very well.
Oh, yeah. The big thing for me is that, you know, these guys did poorly in day one. And, you know, of course it was because they were contestants Loki, Clement, DeCipsos, and, you know, things weren't going too well for them. I want to show you guys, look, they've disengaged, well, they've looted up their side of Misty, and they've come all the way out here, right? A long distance to travel, right? You may be thinking, what are they doing all the way out here? Well, the big thing for them is they need to find ways to deal with their surge. They were so poor when it came to surge on day one, but day two, you can see they're getting so much more aggressive. They know Ubak's team, we want it with them. They're one of the most confident fighting teams in the region, and their X40 and their Squeeze are just wonderful. And you can see here, they line it up. They have the sight lines. Ubak's trio has no idea that they're coming in. So all of a sudden, you have this opportunity where they can just line up a 3-2-1. We all know the classic, you know, you wait, you always have the one teammate that shoots a bit too early, but still you wait, you line it up, you try and get the knock, and you try and push from that. And that's exactly what they did, right? You can see here from McSqueeze's POV, he's the one that actually hits the lucky number, and Kylie just doesn't see it coming, right? These are the sort of plays that they're making now. They're trying to be much more aggressive with their surge, looking to get to other places in the map where they know they're not going to have to deal with many third parties in this general area, but they can just go out there, get their tags, and then move into endgame. And it's working out for them, right? They finally pushed into the top 10. You can see they're in 8th place, but in 1st place, like you said, they probably would be. Kiriachi, Stormy right into sitting above 10 points above 2nd. They are the real deal right now.
They are the real deal. That's actually the first game from Kiriachi's team that's been in double digits for EU so far, which is crazy to think. No teams have managed to get double-digit eliminations up until this point. So Kiriachi's team putting on a show. Pink's team still there, super close. But remember, they were really low down in that game too, 15th place. But Kami, Seti, and Teeth, look, we've kind of gone under the radar for these guys. Last 3 games, 7th, 2nd, and a 3rd, with really good average in 6 eliminations too. So these guys have now crept their way into the discussion.
And to think these guys weren't even in the finals last season, right?
Exactly.
You know, they definitely are a team who you would have thought would have been there, but they tragically just barely missed out. Let's take a look at that next page, though, 11th to 20th. You can see Falcons, Refsguard, and Dretta and 100 Piece Mr. Savage have dropped a bit. You know, the form has dropped, and they are now sitting just outside that top 10. There are 2 more games, right, to get, you know, your points on the board, but all rounds, you are going to have to start hitting the panic button, right? You need to pick things up, because there is, you know, time's not on your side at the end of the day.
Yeah, and same with kind of Queasy, Trilex, and Jurki, your current FNCS champions, you know, 163 points. I mean, they are not looking possible to pick up the 1st place with 2 games remaining, you know, get the back-to-back. But for them, like, I'm sure we could see some big victory royale stuff coming out and definitely shake up a top 10, maybe even a top 5, depending on how the rest of the teams play. But it's tough to see them down that far. But realistically, their hype plays have just been outmatched by other teams doing the exact same thing in this kind of standard of lobby.
That's what we kind of talked about at the very beginning, right? Was like, we yesterday observed that high ground was, trios were trying to dogpile on these high ground and kind of ignored the low ground entirety. And this is kind of the fallout of it, right? When you have all these trios saying like, no, we're just not going to let you guys get high ground. You become too powerful if we just let you take that. It's going to make our game difficult. So we'll have to see, man. We've only got 2 games left to go, and it's looking like anyone in top 10 could walk away trios champions. For now, though, we're going back with Sancho West and Charger for game number 10 of the finals here in EU.
This is it. This is what we're talking about. Last 2 games here of the set. This is getting into bonus time for the day. As we mentioned, 8 games are going to be played today, and over hundreds of thousands of dollars will be awarded. Shayo, you've been calling some amazing matches so far, but we're not done yet, brother.
Hey, we're just at the starting course for now, Sancho. We got a lot more still to do. And what I'm looking at right now is an even closer game that's just changing hands every single time. We'll do what we did before, Sancho, in the last one and set the stakes up. Right now, Kiriachi, Stormy, Toos off a win, looking good. But this is where the cursed energy starts to form. Will things change within the last 2 games? Will people stop their uncontested reign over at Sludgy Swamp? It might just be because Astro's landing way too close.
Hey, it has to be all the hairs on the back of your neck have to stand up if you're a Kiriachi fans out there. But hey, I'm beyond second wind. I know all of these people are beyond their second wind as well. We're all running on fumes, and I'm going to try to find a way to find the 3rd or 4th, 5th win, because this is what it talks about right now. We got to operate on fumes. You got to ride your way to the finish line. 2 more games left, and hey, we've been seeing some adjustments come out, but Shayo, the championship pedigree of this lobby, we're seeing that so many people are in striking distance. Seti, Kami, and Tika is going to be one of those, and Nebs, Pink, and Stompy here. Look at this. They're proving it true, and they're get gifted a llama here. This is going to be huge for them. Big time.
Yeah, this is going to be a very nice advantage in terms of saving time on their path. And you mentioned Seti, Kami, Teak, most impressive team, I think, in the region out of that last game, other than Kiriachi, of course, but that insane run back from low ground. These guys were 8th coming into that game. They had a rough day overall, but off of that one, 7 elims, 3rd place. They survived the terror for long enough to be able to get a lot of placement points from Kiriachi and Janice on the high ground pressure. Now they're in the top 3, about 25 points away from Kiriachi all the way in 1st. It is nuts. In season 4,